You ready to roll, Jen?
Sure.
How about you guys? Good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So welcome to session 12, everybody. Okay, first off, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Allison Godso. If you haven't met me, yeah. So, and it basically for me, I'm just going to introduce myself. I am licensed now with the Real Estate Association for 22 years. It's the only job I've ever had. So, but you and I are both going to teach each other this course because I could probably learn just as much from you guys as you'll learn from me today. So bear with us. I'm not a teacher, and neither is Jen. So we're just here to kind of go through the 34 pages that this booklet outlines in the next 3 hours. But I just want you all to know that speak up. We need you to speak up because this will go quickly if we don't engage. But anyways, a little bit about me. I am, yeah, like I said, I'm licensed 22 years. I am part of the Jerry and Annette Murphy's team. I'm very proud of that. I have 4 children, 5 if you add my dad in, so 5 kids now. And I'm very happy to be a part of Keller Williams. Our co-anchor here is Jen. She'll introduce herself, so I'll let her talk too.
Hi, I'm Jen Kite McDonald. I'm in the Sydney office. I've been licensed 18 years now. Been with KW since 2017 when they first came to Cape Breton. Love all of the training and love the company. And I work as an individual agent.
Amazing. Perfect. Okay, so now I just want to take a little bit of time, and I have 2 in the classroom. So I'd like you all online and in the classroom to just introduce yourself, maybe tell a little bit about yourself, and that we'll go from there.
Sorry, sure. James Langell. I'm new-ish agent. I was licensed in October. KW the whole time.
Awesome.
But I'd like to, now that it's 2024, I'm trying to get out of the mentality that I'm a new agent and saying that I got licensed last year. So
Awesome.
trying to get my confidence in that. I've been doing lots of open houses. I submitted my first offer last night. So
Yay, good.
making some progress with lots of good hands-on experience and really enjoying all learning here. Ignite's been awesome so far. Chad is my mentor. He's fantastic. So it's been a good experience so far. And I'm just, you know, in the storm of information and trying to figure out what direction I'm going and all that, but things are starting to fall into place slowly but surely, but really enjoying it and trying to connect myself with as many people as I can as well in the office and beyond. So it's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Very good.
I'm Laura McIntosh. I've been licensed for 10 years now, and I've been with several different brokerages and started here.
Oh, that's great. Awesome. Very good. Okay, who's online? Do you want to introduce yourself online? Anybody? Or everybody? Angela?
Hi, I'm Angela Curran. I've actually been licensed, it was a year December. And I'm using this, I retired from working 40 years for others in September. So I'm actually using real estate, which is something I've always been interested in, as a way to keep myself active and out there. So I love Keller Williams and the training, and am looking forward to where I take this.
Awesome. All right, who's next?
Hi, I'm Shelley Dean, and I've been with Keller Williams a couple years now. Absolutely love this brand. I'm never leaving. And I'm a former modular home designer and project manager. But most of my life I am a hotel general manager. So who knows how I ended up here, but I just love it.
Awesome. That's great. Next.
Hello,
everyone.
Travis Messer. Oh, go ahead, Discount.
Hello, everyone. This is Dikshit. I am with the Sydney office with the Keller Williams. I just recently joined the KW last year. So I'm also the new agent, and I enjoyed I enjoyed the real estate. I was with the sales advisors with the US pharmaceutical company. So that's me. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Travis?
Travis Mesher, coming up on a couple of years here in July. Come from a background of field service technician and industrial sales. So whether it's industrial air compressors or houses, I feel we can sell something.
That's right. And you're good at it too. Cyril?
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. You just logged on, so we're just introducing everybody to the session 12 and maybe just introduce yourself and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Cyril Lenny, and sorry I'm late. I had a physio appointment this morning.
Okay,
Um,
no problem.
My former career was 35 years in television, 25 years as the host of breakfast television and CTV Morning Live. Married, 3 kids, one beautiful little granddaughter who's 3. And had the last 4 years off playing golf and spending a lot of time on the couch. When Al Chason called me and said, "What are you doing?" And then I became a real estate agent. And here I am.
Awesome. Ah, good. That's good. Thank you. Maureen? No, not there. Sue?
Sorry, I am,
Oh,
I
Okay,
am
well,
here, sorry.
yeah, you go first, Sue. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sue Burns. I've been working off and on in real estate for various realtors in assistant capacities for almost 27 years off and on. And finally decided to get my license. And I'm kind of rebooting. My mom is retired and my sister's taken on another full-time opportunity. So I'm kind of starting over on my own.
Very good. Thank you. And who do we have left here? Maureen. Go ahead, Maureen.
Sorry, hi, good morning. I'm a new agent, about 6 months now. I'm on a team with Janice Ching, and I'm really enjoying what I'm learning, and it's been great to meet everybody, and I'm sorry I'm not there today in class. I usually am, but I've been sick with a cold, so great to see you all.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Did I get everybody online? Looks like it, right? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so here we're here today. We have 2 topics to get through for until, I mean, we're scheduled till 12, so we'll see how that goes. If we finish early, we finish early. If we finish late, we finish late, but we'll try not to do that. So I think what we'll do is talk for an hour and then have like a few minute break and then talk a bit more, have another break. How does that sound, Jen?
sure.
Yep. Okay, perfect. So we're just gonna go through how we're gonna do this is I'm gonna do a few things. We're gonna have a lot of discussions and I'm hoping everybody online will help with that as well. I'll do a few pages. Jen's gonna do a few pages and then we want you guys to put your input in too, because you have done sessions in Ignite already. We haven't. So this is kind of like rolled over into this session. So a lot of the examples come from what you just did. Was it Friday of last week? Okay, perfect. So our 2 topics are nurturing relationships, which I love. I'm happy to talk about that because I feel like it's something that I love to do and hopefully do well. And also it's so important in real estate in general, but I think it's also super important in your personal life as well. And the second is qualifying potential buyers and sellers. So there's 2 topics that we'll get through. And again, Jen and I, as I mentioned, because we talked yesterday, both are not teachers. So we're sort of scripted a bit, which sometimes can be a little tedious, but we'll do our best to script it, talk about it, and like put our everyday handle on it. Does that make sense? Okay. And I'm not techie, so see, because we already went over that and I didn't have it up. So yeah, so in your session 11, I guess it was, which would have been Friday, you guys all discovered tools was it converting leads into contacts and profitable build business is what you talked about on Friday. So in the third session of lead follow-up, we're going to talk about strengthening relationships and extending your knowledge to including follow up with your contacts, exploring your tools that you can leverage to make good systems. Okay. So first and foremost, they want me to ask you how your progress went with your success system. Was that last week? Come on, everybody. What'd you learn last week? What'd you learn? Tell me what you learned on Friday. Does anybody online want to answer that? Because we weren't there, so we really don't know. But it says, how was your progress with your success systems?
I don't remember the term at all, success systems.
Okay. Well, if not, then maybe that's not part of it. Anyways, how we're going to do it is everybody's going to get involved. So at some point today, I want you all to talk. Tell us, talk about your Ignite stuff. Talk about how you're, starting your businesses now as a new agent, as you said, but you're not a new agent anymore because it's 2024. And just some examples of things that we do. You've been in the business 10 years. A lot of us have been in the business quite a long time. So we all have examples of stuff that we do to nurture relationships. But this is really funny. And I'm going to say this because they give us things to, kind of put out to you and get you to start talking. And one of them was, if your birthday falls in January, raise your hand and I'll call on you to share. Do you see what I mean about scripted? So yeah, I am in January. Okay. Anyways, we'll bear with us. We'll figure it all out. Did you guys have accountability partners?
Not really.
See, that's part of this too. It just said to talk about your accountability partners and anyways, you don't have one. Okay, Jen, look at us go.
Yeah.
We're gonna be done by 10.
Okay, so nurture relationships. Know the growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. In Shift, Gary Keller and his writing team remind us of 3 things that lead to growth. The first 2 are thinking steps. First, we need clarity around the goals and priorities. Then we get into action.
Okay.
What is everyone's thoughts on Gary Keller's quote?
Know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. Okay, what does that mean to you? I'm putting you on the spot.
That's fine. I have a lot to say about that because
Amazing.
Again, being fairly new in the industry, there's a lot of information that's thrown at you, and learning to prioritize things and come up with just a few things to focus on at a time.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm learning I need to do. So time management is becoming a priority of mine, planning my weeks and actually writing down goals for myself throughout the week, because instead of coming into a day or a week with 20 things to accomplish, I want to focus on 1 or 2, get good at those,
Yeah.
and then move on to the next.
Yeah.
Because the focus isn't there if you're trying to do it on too many things at once. So that's something that I'm struggling with, but also making progress with slowly. It's trying to find focus and
It's definitely a learned behavior. There's no question about it. For even you as a new agent or me as a realtor for a while, I still have to wake up every morning and I'm old school. I write everything down. I don't even use my phone. Like you're probably so techie. I am not techie. I have a day planner and I write it down with my pen, and it's like, unless it's crossed off each day, it's not done. So those are good points. Like, clarity is power. And that is such a powerful saying that this company goes by all the time, but it is true. It's like, you have to have clarity, you have to prioritize, you have to focus. And if we don't, I feel like I'm in like a hamster wheel sometimes. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not getting anything done here. So sit down, breathe, start over and try again.
Yeah.
So, but those are all really good points for sure.
And that's something you can fall into at any time, no matter how many years you've been doing it. Sometimes you just kind of turtle and go, oh my God, it's all coming at me at once. Where do I go from here? You
Yeah.
have to sit down and kind of calm the storm around you and figure out what you need to focus on.
Yeah, our world is really busy right now and there's a lot of negative. There's a lot of worry. When you bring that into the fold, it kind of makes your day a little less, clear. So we do have to focus. Anybody online want to make a point to that? Know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action.
For me, it's about having to always stay, I almost have to remind myself why I'm doing it. So for me, it's about having the clarity of keeping myself motivated with my own mission statement. Exactly why did I want to get in this to begin with? And it motivates me to keep marching forward. And to like what was said, there is so much thrown at you and so much information. It's something like a saying I hear quite a bit in other groups I'm in, take what you like and leave the rest. So what I do is that which focuses on which motivates me is what I tend to keep clear in my mind and work towards. But I have no idea if that ramble made any sense.
No, it definitely does. And you know what, Angela, your points are so good because she's a good example. We were talking the other day. She's actually on the kindness culture committee with me. And we were sitting down before the meeting started and Angela was preparing her open house. And it was really awesome to see how focused she was and she asked the right questions. So I was just the person that was sitting in front of her. And she was like preparing her open house for that day and she had all of her information and she had questions and she asked those questions. And I find if you don't ask them, you're going to go there and not know what you're doing. So there's more clarity. She didn't have to ask me. I just happened to be sitting in front of her when she was prepping for it. And she asked me questions. And I like that. She could have done it to you too. But I think that if we she focused on that open house, just like you say, you're doing your open houses every Sunday. So great. And she sat in front of people who knew what they were talking about or think they know what they're talking about. And she asked the questions. So she's a little bit more clear when she went to that. I'm saying, I think you were a little bit more clear when you went to that open house, Angela. Maybe you
Oh,
can answer that.
1,000%, 1,000%.
Yeah, so that all works in her favor, but I mean, again, that is prioritizing and focusing on the task at hand, and our everyday tasks are harder than most because we are striving to find the people and the clients and the work and the money. And so we have to, I'm not taking away from other jobs, but we have to work really hard to get to where we're going. So, okay, who's next? Travis, putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'll say when you don't have a quote unquote boss and you're the person that's in charge of your time, you really got to work at staying on task because everybody's a squirrel and everything is a squirrel. So when, having, back to time blocking, having those chunks of time, finding a way to keep yourself on task is key.
Yeah, that's right. I think that point covers all three of those: clarity, priorities, and focus. Right? We have a scary job. Don't you agree? We have a scary job.
So much.
Yeah, it can be extremely overwhelming. Yeah.
There's so many moving parts that you always have to stay uber focused. And I find that with so much that I've learned over the last couple of years, as I'm dealing with things for the first time, I'm going back to those trainings or sessions and reintroducing myself to, the correct procedures and that type of thing.
Yeah. But what is the correct procedures really? Because what I did 22 years ago to what I see people doing online today, I'm like, holy shit, sorry, excuse my language. I wouldn't do that. I don't know. So we're all evolving so much with social media and videos and TikToks and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. It's just like, so there's so much, but not even just like that. The paperwork, the focus on your paperwork is crazy. There's so much to do. So even that is a learning curve. So you feel like you're really good with people, but then you're not, then you come back and you're like, you have 18 pages of paperwork to put into command. So it's hard. It's hard. So even being here in this course is amazing for you all, just to like, even if you picked up one thing from a course, I mean, it's offered, it's here for you, and it's part of your clarity, your priority, and your focus. And that's what you should be doing this stuff, because I feel like it's so important. Anybody else?
Cyril's got his hand up.
Hey,
Yeah, I was just gonna, if you don't have that, it's like, it can,
oh, sorry,
Got
Cyril,
it.
you're just cutting out a little bit. Do you want to
It's-
start again? It's just me, or is it cutting out?
No, I can't hear anything on this end either.
Cyril, get your signal back.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. No, I was just gonna say, like, if you don't have that clarity and focus, like, it can become so overwhelming that you just feel like you want to sink into a hole. And, it can be really deflating. So I think you need to have that in order to, like, stay on track, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I think one point that we all have to remember, because we are, on our own, and we don't, as somebody mentioned, we don't have, I think it was Travis, we don't have somebody in the morning telling us what to do. So for you to wake up in the morning and you have to treat this as a job where you have somebody, just remember that we have brokers and owners and investors and admin staff and clients who are all waiting for us to work. Okay, so your focus has to be like any other job. Wake up and work. Prioritize your day. Focus on your day. Don't just say, oh, well, Young the Restless is on at 1, so I could work around that showing or whatever. Like, pick your hours and work your hours like I'm not, I want to say real job. I don't mean it that way. I just mean, because we are self-employed, it's easy for us to get sidetracked. So wake up, go to your job, whether it's come to this office and focus here, or your car, or your clients, or your office at home, but it is a job that you have to get up every morning and go to. That makes sense? Everybody online, good? Anybody else want to speak? Sorry, Jen, you keep going.
No, that's good. Can you flip the
Yeah,
slide
sorry,
show
my God, yeah,
where-
I totally forgot about that. Okay, yes, so
There you
we
go.
were there, right? That's what we
Uh,
just did.
That's what we
And-
just did. So the next one.
Yeah, perfect. And that was a quote from Gary Keller's Shift. I don't know if anybody else has read that book, but good to read. That's a good read. Put it on your book reading for the year.
Okay,
There we are.
has anyone seen this model before?
Let's all say yes.
So the lead generation and database model. You guys would have worked, now again, this is part of the script. You guys would have worked on the tools to convert leads in your previous part of the course. So basically this is just showing you have your lead capture, you add the lead to your database, and then you're converting your lead to a contact, which eventually will hopefully convert to a sale, basically. How do we know the difference between a lead and a contact?
Anybody? Laura?
I have to look back at my notes. We did do this. Contact is someone you just put into your database, but a lead is somebody you built a relationship with, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Well, let's start at the top. So lead capture. Okay, let's do an example. Your open house. Okay, so let's go from there. So you captured a lead. Somebody walked in your door. That's a capture. Okay, they came. They didn't have to. They did. Okay, so you start talking to them. You introduce them to your property. Tell them your name. You captured their attention, basically. Okay, they were like, "Hi, how are you? Welcome." So then you have a sign-in sheet. Okay, they decided, yeah, I'll definitely sign that for you. So you captured them enough that maybe you can get them into your database, right? So their name is on there, maybe their phone number, email, who knows what they want to put on there, but they did something that gives you an opening to get into your database. Whether they stay in your database or they opt out, we'll deal with that later, but right now they're happy to meet you, okay? So then you head down into your little cup here. So your lead came from forming that hello at the door and getting them to give you their email. So now they're in your contact system, okay? So that gives you permission. They just gave you permission to contact them, okay? Because if they didn't want you to contact them, they wouldn't have wrote down their email. So went from a lead to a contact, right? So now you're gonna head down, sorry, Jen, do you want me to keep going?
Go for it.
Yeah, so now you're gonna go down into 3 where you prepare contacts for conversion. Well, they really liked that house, okay? They loved it, you could tell. They walked around with you, they asked all the right questions, you had a good spidey sense about them. They gave you their phone number, their email. You come down here, now you're ready to check on them tomorrow, tonight. Welcome, thank you for coming to my open house. Seemed like you really liked it. Is there anything you would like me to answer? So they write you back, yeah, we really like it. Okay, we'd like to put an offer in. You've converted them into a new client or a customer, whatever version of, you know, get it, right? So now you have to figure out what they want. So that's a good example that open houses can work, okay? So you went from them walking in, them offering on the house or not. Maybe they just liked the house, they asked a few questions, they became part of your database and you follow up with them every week because you know they're a hot lead in my opinion, because they came into an open house, so they're actively looking. And then you are preparing to convert them into a customer, client, whatever relationship you end up with them. And then maybe if they didn't buy that house, they're gonna buy something and next step is a BDBA. Cool. There's your lead versus contact, okay? So now, on the other hand, they may have walked into your open house as a lead, don't want to talk to you. It happens. They walk around with their wife or their husband or their child and they look at the house and then they say, thank you very much, and they walk out. Well, you had some company for 10 minutes. It happens, but you can convert them easily just by your personality, the knowledge of the house, all that stuff. So there's ways to do this, okay? Anybody else have any comments on that? I just kind of used an open house as an example, but there's 800 other examples too. Jen?
Yeah, no, basically, I mean, your lead are the people that you have contact information for, however you collected it. Now you can follow up with them, but essentially your contacts are people that you've had a two-way conversation with. They're expecting to hear from you. They know who you are, whether they've agreed to, that you're their agent yet. You move forward along that way, but it's more of a relationship as where the lead would be more of a, okay, here's my opportunity.
Yeah, and that can happen in so many different capacities. I mean, I have about 800 different examples that I could give you, and the latest one, and this is a funny one, I'm going to share it with you, but I was snowmobiling last weekend because that's what we do in our spare time, and we stopped at a stop and we were just standing around talking, and I have a listing in the community where we snowmobile, and somebody came up off their snowmobile, and my snowmobile is deckled, no joke, it says Keller Williams all over it. And they knew that this property was for sale, and we had a big old awesome talk about it on the snowmobile trail. And the next day when we got home, he messaged me through I gave him my card. He messaged me, we talked, everything. I converted him from a lead on the snowmobile trail to a contact in my database. So now he's actively looking in our community and he's now talking to me. So there's something that I did personally that converted into my cup, okay? So again, you have to be ready at any point, and you could be at church, you could be at a party. I mean, I used to go to parties all the time and hand out my cards to everybody at a party until all my friends got sick of getting a card, and I'm like, oh, I'm just reminding you, but we're at a party. So it could be anywhere that you could convert a lead to a contact pretty easily into your database. I think we all are aware of that, as we know that we're functioning realtors who need to draw business from wherever we go.
And the
Okay?
moment anyone finds out you're a realtor, they want to talk.
Oh, 100%.
That's-
I
yeah.
find it
Oh, you're a
such a,
realtor.
yeah, it's a really fun relationship to have with people because everybody seems to be interested in real estate. I don't know if whether they're selling it, not selling it, or being part of it, they just want to talk about it. It's pretty cool. Anything else? Does anybody else have an example online, or is that clear as mud?
Clear as mud.
All right, perfect. All right, Jen, we're on page 5 now. Look at us go.
I just did page 5.
Oh, okay.
You're up.
Awesome, perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back actually to page 5. So our WI4C2TES, everybody understand what that means? I think we've learned it. We've talked about it many times in training. So what we just talked about, communication, seek first to understand. If we have approached our conversations with contacts with this in mind, we understand their needs and can communicate with our contacts based on those needs. I think that's pretty straightforward. Communication is the key to our business 150%. Okay, so if you are at an open house and you are quiet, no one's going to talk to you. There's just no question about it. If you get a lead on a listing you have and you meet somebody at your house and you walk in and you're standing there and they walk in and you don't talk to them, well, do you think they're really going to feel comfortable with you? I have zero problem talking to anybody, which is, I think as realtors, we have to remember that we have to communicate first. It's super important to always make them feel comfortable, especially sellers. You have to come into their home. It's their home. You think that they'd be more confident than us, but we have to communicate. So that is one of the most important things in that whole, what Keller Williams teaches us. Communication is pretty key. Okay, so let's move along. Okay, so focus on building relationships and take market share. Big time importance, big time. We all intend to be successful. I'm going to read the script on this one. We all intend to be successful. As real estate professionals, success is built on relationships. As one top agent said from the stage of a Red Talk, focus on building relationships and take market share. So super important. When I moved, and I'm going to give this example because it has worked so well for me, but I moved to the prospect communities probably 8 years ago. At that time, there's a handful of realtors in the community, but I focused on my community. I built all kinds of relationships. My husband is from the prospect communities, and very well liked. So he had a lot of contacts. So I focused on those contacts. I socialized. I went to parties. I didn't know anybody. So I was new to the community. And now I have taken over a lot of the market share in the community. And I'm very, very lucky. But that is just exactly this, focusing on building my relationships. And I did just that. I had one of my really good friends said to me the other day, and I'm so proud to hear this because I feel like I'm doing something right. He said, I have lived in Terrence Bay my whole entire life, and Allison knows more people than I do in the community. And I felt like that was such a win for me because I focus, I advertise, I talk to people, I do all the extracurricular activities, I volunteer, my kids all work in the community. So I feel like this I've done well. And it's super important to develop those relationships, not just in your community, but in your life. People need to like us to want to work with us. So anybody else want to elaborate on that in their experiences so far?
Hello, it's Iris here.
Iris, how are you? We missed you at the beginning. Do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, I'm with Keller Williams for a few years, but I'm just thinking I'm like a new one, like I want to expand the business. I moved in a new but small neighborhood. And I just heard you focus on your community and, expand your business quite a while. So I'm just quite interested about that because I think maybe this is the way I want to start this year. So like you say, volunteer or some activities. I just wonder, can you maybe share some in detail, like what I like, for me, myself, like in a very small neighborhood, we just have 3 streets,
Okay,
around.
yeah.
Yeah, so what kind of volunteer activities I can do, or I, ask.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I feel like social media is sort of the wave of the future for a lot of us right now. But I'll give you the examples for me. I joined all the Facebook groups in my community, and there were 4 total. So I became heavily involved in those. They only advertise 1 day a week for sales, which I think is a good thing because you could probably get pretty inundated with marketing if it was an everyday thing. So every Monday, I put my posts in their social media sites like clockwork since I started living there. I mean, if you wanted to spend some money, also there, if you have a rec center, I have a billboard in my rec center. I have a billboard on the main road. I have one on another road. So those things cost money, but I mean, as new agents, I think just focus on your free sites, your social media sites, your Facebook groups. If your neighborhood has one, if your neighborhood doesn't have one, maybe start one. And then they'll join. If your community's pretty small, maybe door-to-door knocking, introduce yourself, give your business card out is a good idea. Not everybody likes that, but again, that's building market share. Knock on all their doors and just say, my name is Iris, and here's my business card. I live in your community. It could be very simple. You could end up having lots of conversations with them at the front door. They could close the door on you, but that's a good start. Open houses, if you have a listing in your area, are very important. Anybody else want to add to this? I think just, yeah.
I know in Sydney, obviously different market, but every market's gonna have its own niche. Like you guys talk about open houses, and I mean, an open house, if you get one person at an open house here, you're doing well. So it just depends on the market that you're in. I feel like, if you're new and you want to get out there, mail outs are also a great way of doing things, whether it's, your free market analysis or how you want to introduce yourself and then focus on certain neighborhoods. You can actually set up an account through Canada Post so you can target areas, whether they're multi-unit or single family. You can filter where you want them delivered. And Vistaprint does some great postcards that you can build the designs through command and send on to them, and they'll do them.
Yeah. Good point.
But I know it sounds really strange, but you have no idea how many times over the years that I've done mail outs, and certain neighborhoods I've hit numerous times, and you get a call and they say, well, you've basically sent me a mail out for the last 5 years, so now we're ready.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I actually was going to lead into that with my team. So Jerry and Annette are the masters of mail outs in Fall River. So every time they have a sold, they send out a sold card. And it works. It really does work. Yes, you're going to have to invest a little bit, but it's through Canada Post, and that's part of Jerry's whole marketing strategy. And it has been, I've been working with Jerry for 10 years, so it has never failed him. He sends it out after every house he sells to the neighborhood. Again, Iris, that's money. Starting out, I think you should focus on door knocking, social sites. They're free. All that's free. Your time, is precious. I know, I get that. But if you say she say you had 3 streets in your neighborhood?
Yes, it's quite small, but outside of it, it's a new development. But I think this is a good topic. If I do door knocking, then I can open up the topic like the new development just behind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good start for sure. I
Yeah.
also think that for you as a new realtor, and okay, so I'm gonna go back to 22 years ago when I first started. I work with Sandra Bryant, and she had so much business, and she put me in her open houses every weekend. So, and I was there. It didn't matter. I had to go to open houses Saturday and Sundays every weekend, and I did it. And I complained about it for sure. There's no question about it, but it's the only way to get your cards out, to hand them out, to introduce yourself to people. So, add yourself on to somebody's SDBA for a Sunday and do an open house. I think our office is pretty good about, putting it into the Facebook page and asking if anybody is willing to let you host an open house. And it gives you practice. It gives you the opportunity to meet people. You get to pick and choose really the locations where you want to do it, because I'm sure everybody in Keller Williams has an open house planned that would love to have somebody cover it. So that's another start too. That costs you, a little bit of your time, but no money really to do that.
I've done door knocking with invites for open house before, either the day of, just a couple hours before, or the day
Yeah.
before. to invite
Yeah.
people. That's another good way to.
It
get
is,
your
yeah, 100%.
in someone's hand.
Yeah. And that, half an hour before, just do the street, something like that. For your small little community, if you say, you only have 3 streets, but you've got some development coming, I think that, maybe door knocking is something that would be beneficial for you, whether it's a negative or a positive. You're gonna get all aspects of it. They'll close the door in your face or they'll talk to you. But I mean, again, take the time, invest in the time.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think so. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right, let's move on to, anybody have any questions about building relationships and market share? Okay, we're moving on. All right. So now we're going to start with mindset, big time importance. Today's conversation is tomorrow's transaction. So we're going to establish a mindset around follow up with our contacts. If your database, okay, listen to this one, everybody. If your database is a garden, then your leads are the seeds, your contacts are plants, and your conversion is your harvest. That's scripted. It's a good one though. It's a good one. Yeah, it's good. So I'll repeat it. If your database is a garden, then your leads are the seeds, your contacts are plants, and conversion is your harvest. So yeah. So how does everybody feel about that? And how does that affect mindset? I mean, I guess we should talk about mindset too. Super important to wake up in the morning and go to work. That's mindset. As I said, it's really easy for me to wake up in the morning and do my laundry and check on my dad and shovel my driveway and see if my kids have made it to school on the Life 360 app and where they are and all that stuff that could like boggle my day down. But I go to work like it's work. I wake up, I go to my office and I work. So you have to, your mindset is, I mean, Gary Keller teaches us and Keller Williams teaches us about mindset all the time. And it's so important in this job. So does anybody have any examples of mindset and how it affects your day to day?
I started coming into the office most days
Yeah.
this year, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if I just make one phone call, trying to talk to my database was my goal this year. So I thought if I just make one phone call, I've done 10 times more than what I did yesterday at home.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
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 So Laura, I'm sure everybody heard that, but Laura makes a point to come to the office to work, even if it's like, one phone call, it's more than maybe she would do at home. How about you, Angela? No? Okay.
I find, for me, the more I'm getting out there and trying to be involved in real estate things, it's helping my confidence, which is really changing my mindset. I actually said yesterday to my husband after I submitted my first offer that I was working on all day, because I don't know who remembers doing their first offer, but I checked it over
Oh, I do.
a million times. I sent it to like 5 or 6 different people. I was nervous about it, but I was answering all of my first time home buyer clients questions yesterday. So I've gone through the experience of buying a home. And yesterday I was on the other side of that transaction for the first time. And it really made me feel like a realtor. I actually said last night, I said, I feel like a realtor now. Like it really helped my confidence. And
So good.
doing the open houses, I did my first one in December, and I was really nervous about that too. Did a lot of preparation. I still do a lot of preparation, but I've done 5 or 6 now, and I'm not nervous going into them. I find getting out there is really increasing my confidence, and that's changing my mindset into seeing myself as a realtor, somebody who can answer people's questions. Because confidence is everything in this job. I remember when I started, I was really nervous about, people asking me when I meet them how long I've been in the business. I haven't had that question yet, which is great, but I'm learning also the more confidence you have in anything in life.
Yeah. True.
That's a big part of the impression that you give people.
Yeah.
And the more I'm doing, the more I'm getting out there. I'm putting in a lot of effort to get out there and do things, and I'm seeing the payoff from that already, because the more confident I feel, the more I am ready to move forward with things and talk to people about real estate.
Yeah.
And feel like I am, that's right, I'm not just licensed in real estate. I now feel like I'm a realtor.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing you have to remember too is that nobody knows that that's your first offer. Okay, so that's where your confidence comes in. They don't need to know that. There's no reason in the world why you have to tell them that. And everything is fixable. So, if there was, one tiny mistake on your offer, don't let that discourage you. Well, amendments fix stuff. But again, go ahead.
I was just gonna, I'm here. I was making mom's tea. What's fascinating to me, observing so many different people that enter into real estate, is that you can enter it at any phase in your life, at any age, at any type of career plan. For me, I thought I was at the end of my career. I thought I was finishing that part of my life, that I didn't have to go out and do traffic, do anything anymore. And my mindset, even though I took the licensing course and had this idea that I needed something when I retired to keep me productive and busy, life sometimes gives us all kinds of kicks. And I had found myself in a situation where I was really content to stay in my little condo by myself and hide from the world right after I retired. And then I thought, hold on a minute, the whole reason you took the real estate was because you knew you didn't want to do that. So what's been happening for me, even the last month, is it's making me come out of myself, right? It's making me realize that because this 40 years of my career life is done, I'm not done. I still have hopefully years and years and years ahead of me. So for me, it's actually been inspirational to get me looking almost excited in a way that I haven't felt in years about starting something completely new, and lots of fears with it because I've left my comfort zone. But one of my favorite books was Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways. And so for me, the mindset has been, I can choose to retire and just grow old in my little condo, or I can get out there and actually, contribute and have a life. So that's kind of where I'm at with it all.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And also too, I think another point we all have to remember is that there's a lot of support here too. So, helping your mindset is also talking to other people who share the same experience as you, and going to the social events and coming to the training and talking to people. Even my conversation with Angela the other day at our meeting helps me too. I sometimes go to showings and I'm meeting people and I'm nervous too. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I feel like I have, a stronger personality sometimes too, because I have the experience behind me, but I walk in and I'm nervous too. So I think we learn, again, another bold law is that we teach people how to treat us. So when we walk in, we set the tone for what's going to happen, and that's mindset too. So if you're going to walk in and be scared at a showing or an open house, people will feel that from you. But if your mindset is, I'm going to that open house and I'm going to sell it today, or I'm going to meet a client, or I'm going to add somebody to my cup and they're going to be in my contacts by the end of the day, go out and do that and make that game plan, because that's all mindset. It's super important to have a strong mindset in this industry, because if you don't, you could get eaten alive for sure. Anybody else have any examples online? Sue, you see a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that getting in the office is a huge thing for me. Which I haven't been doing. I've been licensed since March and I haven't been going in the office, but I find just this is the first Ignite that I haven't been there in person, and I do find that being present and meeting people who are going through the same thing kind of inspires me to try harder.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no question about it. I mean, it's talking to people in the office, even the monthly meeting. Do you feel like your mindset is so cool there because everybody's there for the same reason? Yeah, we're having some lunch and we're talking, but we're all there for the same reason and the same goals and the same conversation. So even, coming to a monthly meeting and having a 10-minute conversation, like, again, I've never met you. Today I
No.
meet you, but we know, like, now we're like, okay, now we know who each other is, because I'm sure we've seen each other online many times, and I know that for sure with you. So it's cool to just have that conversation. Travis and I did Bold together, and man, I'm going to tell you, we had fun, didn't we, Travis?
Yeah, Bold was fun.
Yeah, it was, and I got to know him and I got to hear his stories and learn from him. And my God, I learned from so many people in this industry every day, just coming and stopping into the office and saying hi, because I don't do it all as much as I would like to as well. But it's super important because it will change your mindset for sure when you talk to like-minded people and you learn from them and you hear their stories. So it's super important.
Finding that really helpful being part of this office in particular. I don't have any to necessarily, but everybody has been really willing to help.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really trying to harvest right now. Is one of my priorities these days is aligning myself with other people who are in the industry.
Yep.
And I've been able to reach out to people, for example, yesterday when I was writing my offer for advice. And everybody's more than willing to help me out. So that's something that
Awesome.
I really want to take advantage of.
And there's so much help for you.
It really seems like it, and everybody's very open to giving advice and help here, and that's really, really helping me through these early days.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
really good. I'll give you a funny before we move on to the next page, but Alex Malcolm is one of my really good friends, and Erin, obviously, she's one of my best friends, but my husband and I always hang out with them. And he used to come home and say, could you please stop talking about real estate? It's really boring for me. And I'm like, no, we can't. We are like-minded people. We're going to talk about real estate at every function we go to, whether it's four-wheeling or a dinner. And now we laugh about it because Alex will say to me, we should probably not talk about real estate today just so he can have a good day. All right. So next up, everybody's good with that? Have a good, clear mindset and a strong one is the basis of that whole slide. Okay, next up, it says, once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. Either way, once you've met them, you put them in your database and you stay in touch with them forever. So true. Whether it doesn't turn into anything, it could. It will turn into a referral, whether they're selling real estate in the future, they may not be, but their friend could be. So, what does it, okay. Let's go with Maureen. What does this quote mean to you?
To me, it just means I need to be intentional, and it doesn't matter. I'm not expecting anything right away, but it's just to keep that contact. And like you said, it could be a referral. They may never buy or sell, but they may recommend you to somebody else.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah. It could be as simple as a like on Facebook. Okay. I spend, no word of a lie, every morning, 1 hour going through the morning Facebook like it's a newspaper. I like posts. I like them. I comment on them. I touch them. It's part of my touches, honestly, is going through people's Facebook. I learn a lot, which is great, but you also learn a lot about your, you know, your people that you're friends with on Facebook. You learn about their lives and what's happening, and that's super important because, hey, if you talk to them once a day, once a week, I don't even care if it's once a month, but you have to touch your database. No, just don't forget about them. Don't have that client where you're like, 5 years ago, you sold them a house and then all of a sudden you forgot about them, because what's that gonna do for you? They're not gonna hire you again. Keep in touch with them. So this is so important. Staying in touch with them forever is so true. Like, I mean, okay, so here's an example. Jerry's database, we touch it all the time. We send them Christmas cards every single year. Our Christmas cards have magnets in them. Yeah, is that a little bit of money? For sure it is. But every year they know they're getting that Christmas card, okay? That has a magnet in it that goes on their fridge, okay? There's a realtor in my community who sends out, I have her magnets on my fridge, okay? She's at a different company, but I get a magnet every year. So it works, but that is a touch. That is a touch all the time. A weekly touch, a monthly touch. I don't know. You can figure out what's important to you guys and how much you touch them or visit them or drop off some flowers or something, but you have to keep in touch. So in Gary Keller's shift book on page 81, that is showing you exactly where to go to read about this if you have that book. Angela, give us an example of what you do for contacts and keeping in touch with them.
I use Smart Plans. So
Awesome.
what I did was I used Facebook what an untapped resource for contacts to get into your database that is. So I went from like 90 to 250 one day when I just sat down and started adding friends and contacts from Facebook. So now I use Smart Plans to send out those that I have the address for. I send them out neighborhood updates. Others, I do a lot on the Facebook, the liking them and commenting on them and that kind of thing, and actually connecting with a lot of people that I haven't, talked to in years. So right now, those are my 2 areas of focus.
Yeah, that's good focus. You know that Facebook is a database? It is a database. You have, okay, so let's look at your Facebooks, for example. So say you have 80 friends, there's 80 contacts. Okay, those 80 contacts have 260 people in their database, okay? So if you put a post out, and here's a good example, and this works for me too. So I do a like and share once a month. I share that on my Facebook page and it's shared out 63 times. Those 63 people have it on their Facebook, and those people may have 500 contacts of people who are seeing that. So that one little post is probably shared out. I don't even know, do the math to how many people and how many people share that. And I don't even know how many people they have in their database, but those people are seeing it. Okay, so it's one little post. It took me 30 seconds to do, and it was shared 63 times. And every month I give a thank you gift to a winner on a wheel, and I drop it off and I thank them in person. And that's another touch. So all these little touches are touching hundreds of people, okay, just by one little post.
So that's a giveaway that you do?
Yeah, like I just call it a little like and share. Please share my listing at 24 Sunset, open house on Sunday. So if you were doing an open house for me, I would do a little like and share. I would send it out. It's an open house. It has the MLS number. It has all the proper things for advertising, and it's shared. Okay, so and that was one post that hit hundreds of people. Whether or not they all, they're not all going to show up to the open house, but it's activity. Okay, so you're touching your database. I consider my Facebook a database. I do 100%. Okay, but there are other things. Command, huge database. If you are not on Command, you need to be on Command. There are so many things through Command that you could do to touch your clients, to keep you organized. You have all your opportunities in there. God, there's nothing better. It's like the Bible. Everything is in one spot and it's monitored by the office. So you're never going to ever miss anything because they're going to remind you 18 times what you're missing in your opportunity file. So there's nothing better than keeping organized that way. And then you have every client in there because you can't put an opportunity in without putting your clients' names and information in. So there's your database. Touch that database with a Command Smart Plan. Amazing. So easy. You can just set it up to give you reminders, anniversaries, a child's birthday, the anniversary of the sale of their house. It's so amazing. And if you don't use command, I strongly urge you to use command. Travis, give us an example of your database.
So from every, I guess, transaction you have information about, 1, 2, 3, 4 people, however many there is on whatever side. So you've got your birthday, you've got an address, so there's 2 birthdays, there's probably, an anniversary, a house anniversary, Mother's Day, Father's Day, a kid's birthday. So there's many, many touches that you can hit just off one transaction.
Yep, that's right. That's a good point. And again, that's going to work in the morning. Okay, that is part of your job, is to touch your database. If you don't touch your database, you're not working. So no matter what, whether it's 1 hour that you're just going to sit down and focus on Instagram, Facebook, saying hi, sending an email, texting, like take a half an hour. Hey, we all have a database right here. Okay, so you look in your contacts, how many contacts you have in your phone, there's a database.
Yeah.
Go through your database from A to P on Wednesday morning and send a text. Hi, it's so-and-so. Hi, it's Allison. Just want to say hi. Haven't talked to you in a while. So you're going through maybe A to C one morning for 1 hour. If nobody answers, oh well. If one person answers, great. Okay. So I'm going to give an example of that. I touched base with a client that I have not talked with for a year, and it was coming up to our year anniversary. And I knew back then, a year ago, that his son was getting ready to possibly sell his house. Okay, we talked, whatever. So it was almost a year. So I sent him a text the other day. I just said, hey, how are you? Haven't talked to you in a long time. I just wanted to say hi because I was going through the alphabet at that time. And he wrote me back, hey, so nice to hear from you. We are selling our house now. Would you like to come and see us? Who the hell would have known that? Nobody. He hadn't reached out to me. So, and March 5th, I list his house. That was super on a whim, and that is no word of a lie, something that I was just touching through my contacts on my phone. Okay, so check your phone right now. How many contacts you have? That's your database. It could be a friend, just, hey Joe, just want to remind you, I'm a realtor. Tell all your friends, ha ha ha, make a funny little joke about it. They will love it. Okay. So anybody else have any tidbits they want to share about databases?
I think the more that you stay in contact with people too, you almost have like a pyramid effect. So the fact that you're friendly, you stay in contact, you reach out from time to time. If they then have people that are looking for a real estate agent, you're more likely to get, hey, well, you know what? Cyril just sent me a message the other day. And, you can always reach out to him, right?
Yeah. Cyril, listen, you're a good example of that. I mean, look at your connections with your dance academy and your children and your father dances that you did every year. I mean, I don't even know you that well, and I saw those dances. So, you affected me too. So there's a database for you, your personal life with your extracurricular activities. And,
Yes.
like all of that is super important. My kids all played sports when they were growing up. They're all adults now, if you can believe that. But they all played sports, hockey, baseball. And I made sure I went to every single thing, not only because it's super important for me as a mom, but it's secondly, you're making connections with people there. You're going away on overnight tournaments with them. You're talking to them about your business. You're giving them cards. You're sponsoring them. Your name is on the back of their jersey. Like all these little things is communication about you. You're going to walk right in there and be like, hey, look at me. I'm a realtor. You give them no reason not to pick you. And that is through your database. You have a lot of connections. Okay. We all do. We all have friends that like to party. Go to those parties. I worked with a realtor one year and for a few years, and she actually said to me, I go to every social event I can, and I pick up my clients from socializing at parties. And that, no word of a lie, worked for her. That was her database. So good. Everybody?
Actually, saying that, I went to a party about 3 weeks ago and have a prospective client that way as well.
That's right. And you know what? I always talk about it here. It's like a joke that I'm not gonna lie. I like to party. We do. We're still young. We like to socialize, and I had so much business from my friend group and socializing, and I'm super proud of it. Might have a hangover in the morning, but it works. Okay, so Jen, do you want to take a little break so everybody can check their phones and then we'll start on page 9?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. I don't know, so do you see that chat there? I'm not even sure if anybody, I don't know how to check that. Do I click on here?
Yeah.
Nope.
It's click on
Click on
the icon. No, yeah.
right here. Okay, we're good. Okay, just about 5 minutes and then everybody can check their phones and then we'll get back to page 9.
The reason I reacted like that when you said I'm Allison Gotso is because I've seen your name all over.
Oh, good.
And I was like, oh,
Ah, that's
I
nice.
kind of feel like a little celebrity. Or
Yeah. That's cute. Love it. But I see your name all kinds of places too,
Oh, yeah.
so that's good.
That is-
All your open houses I see,
Yeah,
so good
awesome.
job.
Like this, I forgot here. I knew her and I thought that they were more. You're so good. Well, it's still how you were talking. Okay, but that's the rule. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Party. Yeah, that's right. Always been something, yeah.
Jen, we're just somebody's getting a coffee and then we'll be ready to go. All right, do you want to get going now? Don't know if Jen is here.
Amir?
Okay, all right. I think everybody has got a little break and we're ready to get back at it.
We good?
Yep, I got the slide up.
Okay, so if you take a look at this graph and compare it to the wave graph, every person in your database is on a wave of being ready to buy. In this graph, we have lead generation phase on the left where you're gathering and storing leads rather quickly. You can get leads in days or weeks. It's the converting them to the transaction that is basically going to be your most work. Getting the lead is one thing, holding on to it and converting it is a whole different scenario. On the right end of the graph, you're busy with transaction process, and that can go 2 weeks to 2 months through the transaction. How long is the lead follow-up phase? Do you recall how many years it can be between buying homes on average?
Who's gonna guess that?
7.
That's the magic number.
Yeah, 7.
They say that if you kind of want a little bit of a safe haven on not losing on your home, you should have a plan in action to stay in that home for 7 to 10 years if you really, want to be on the safe side of things. If you're going to move in a year or two, you got to kind of figure out where the market is. There is a lot more of a risk in that. And lead follow-up, obviously, if you sell them a house, it's like Allison was saying in the last section, you need to keep in touch on some level. I mean, I do the Christmas cards every year with the calendars, with the magnets and birthday cards and home anniversary cards. And, you got to kind of stay in their realm of some kind, because when they are ready, if you're not going to be there, somebody else is going to be in their little circle. And that can mean the difference between you getting that lead, getting your contact back and doing a second transaction with them versus seeing it go up with another agent, which is really disheartening to see.
And that's how important follow-up is, because the first time that you see one of your clients list with somebody else, you're gonna change the way you do things.
Yeah, you get a little kick in the face that morning and then you have to try to get over it because you're just like, okay, how did I lose that? But again, if you're going to let everything get lost in the shuffle, everybody's leading a social life. They could be sitting with Allison at the hockey rink.
Yeah, for sure.
So, lead follow-up will imply that you're waiting to get to conversion, and that you're basically willing and ready anytime they are ready to do another transaction, I guess.
Okay, is that good for everybody? Okay, so your goal from session 11 was to convert leads to appointments, and we learned that not every lead is able, ready, or willing to meet. When we encounter folks who are not ready for an appointment, we use follow-up to stay in contact until they are ready for an appointment. This will happen 10 times to your 1, okay? That, you're gonna meet somebody, they're just not ready at that time, but one day they will be ready. So if you had to guess how many times you agreed to be in someone's database when you were not ready to make a purchase, include all the times you signed up for an email list or a text message for a discount code you never used. It happens to us every single day. So not even as realtors. I have 4 people right now who are sales, who contact me all the time, whether it's Unique or like, all those makeup places or whatever, they're always contacting us. So they're looking at us as their database too. So think about that when, people are asking you, how many times has this happened in your life? Okay, Laura, for example, you.
Oh, I remember one specific, it was the wife of a friend, she was doing Beachbody.
Yep.
And I hate the gym and I hate exercise. And lo and behold, I signed up for Beachbody.
Yep.
And didn't do anything with it.
Oh, I've had a Beachbody app for years, and like, how many times do I use it? But again, you're right, you get sucked into that, not sucked in, but she obviously was good.
She was good.
She was good.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a girl in Terrence Bay who sells like body wash. I don't even know the name of the company, but I love it. Okay, but she contacts me every month. Do you need a refill? Do you need anything extra? How's your son's blemishes? Because she gives this for a teenager and this and that. And she keeps in touch with me every month. And I say every month how well she does her job. So I buy it from her. Okay. So if people, sorry, Jen, but if people are, no, this is actually my section, so I'm allowed to keep talking. But again, it says by show of hands, how many people have ended up eventually buying something after receiving multiple messages from the company or person who you had in their database? Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. We all have. Everybody online, I'm sure all your hands are up. Okay. Does anybody have, an aha from that? That's not real estate related, but somebody who has been approached by a salesperson that you've purchased something from.
I had somebody at Christmas time once saying that they're trying to make the next level of something. And she needs help from all of her friends and family. You want to purchase something.
Yeah.
And just the way she worded it.
Yeah.
Say no.
I know, because she's a good salesperson. That's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Okay, make people like you enough to buy from you or want to choose you, right? And that comes from database, mindset, communication, all the stuff that we're learning every single day in this course or in our,
And adding on to your point that if people aren't ready now, they will be someday. If we get people knocking on our doors, from Bell, for example, selling the
Yeah.
internet, whatever packages. And for a long time, it was no. And then eventually we got so fed up with Eastlake that they knocked on our door one day.
Yep.
It's like, yes.
Yep.
So
That's a really good story. And it brings me to my mother and father-in-law. Same thing the other day. We went to their house for supper. We have new internet or we have new TV. I'm like, what happened? Well, they knocked on our door so many times that
Yeah.
we were like, oh, this is a good deal. Okay. So knock on the door, make the call, do the touch, do the
Yeah.
text message. Anybody else online have an example? Okay, so it says the quality and frequency of your follow-up often makes the difference. Okay, we have a lot in common with our contacts. If our contacts get quality messages from us that make an offer for an immediate response, they are likely to respond and we are more likely to get the business. Okay, and that even stems back from, hey, good morning. This is James. Remember, I'm a realtor. Just want you to let all your friends know. It could be just a jokey joke, sending it out to a couple friends who are going to tell people. Just keep reminding them and be, be solid about it, be confident about it. Okay, we've talked about mind share before and how important it is to convert leads to contacts and contacts to appointments. Okay, take a look at these stats. So NAR stats say 74 to 75% of all buyers and sellers spoke with just one agent before choosing them to represent them. Only 15% of them considered more than one agent. Be that agent that they only want to choose. Okay, so that's confidence. Okay, you get that appointment, you go in, you meet with them in whatever capacity that you're meeting with them, and don't let them interview anybody else. Okay, so that's confidence. Okay, what does this say to you guys? Give us an example of how you feel about that. Anybody online? Travis. Not there? Iris? Maureen, anybody? If not, we can keep moving.
I have one case where a gentleman that I golf with at Granite Springs, we happened to run into one while they were chatting, and then he mentioned he was going to sell his house, and then he went from golf friend to lead to a contact and a client within like a couple of hours.
Awesome. Cyril, I'm going to tell you a story. So one night, and I don't know if you even remember this, it wasn't that long ago, there was a social event in my community and you were there. And I was there, and we haven't really not met many times, but you were obviously, that probably stemmed from the golf course, because I think the people who you were there with, a lot of them golf at the golf course, maybe in the men's league. But anyways, you were at this event, and I'm going to tell you, I was super happy to see you there, but also was like, what is he doing in my community? And it was at the Legion. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I've been to the Legion a couple of times.
So there
And
you go.
yes, yeah, they're all Granite Springs folk.
That's right, exactly. So there's a good niche of, contacts, and how you can, touch those is your golf game and your people there and your men's night or whatever you're doing at the golf course is a really good opening for contacts, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you need to be top of mind. When buyers and sellers think of real estate, they think of you. That is the definition of mind share. So it's super important that they think of nobody else but you. But again, if you're, being interviewed and there's 3 of you going in, you just win it. I mean, that's mindset, that's confidence. But why not let them not think of anybody else but you? So only you can do that with your database and how you deal with it. Okay. I'm just going to read this because this is on the script. Do you remember an earlier discussion of how many real estate databases each of your leads and contacts are in? So just think about it. How many different real estate databases are you in? Have you ever visited a competitor site and started getting emails, texts, and perhaps calls from them? Bingo. You're in other real estate databases, just like your sphere of influence, along with everyone in your database. So it naturally follows that goal. Number 2 of nurturing our relationships with our contacts is to stay top of mind. The data shows that most sellers and buyers only interview one agent before choosing someone to work with. That means if I'm not the first name that comes to mind when a contact thinks about real estate, I am probably not who they are going to work with when they are ready to transact. Super important to know that, okay? So make your database choose only you, okay? So how you do that going forward is up to you, but touch it every single day. All I can say is touch it, touch it, touch it. Even in my friend group, I tease them all the time. I'm like, you're never choosing anybody but me. And my friend group spreads far and wide because of the stuff that I do in my community and in my friend group and my snowmobiling community and all of that stuff. So I try to give them no reason. And they tease me all the time because when I'm snowmobiling, I have a hoodie that has my information on the back. My snowmobile coat has my information on the back. My snowmobile has my information. My garage, where we all party afterward, has my Jerry and Annette Murphy's team sign on the wall. So all those little things remind them they're not choosing anybody else. Okay. Jen, how about you and Sydney? You do this really well too.
Just keeping it in. Well, I don't drive a snowmobile around with my KW information on the back of it,
But now you're going to.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I try to, do sponsors for different hockey organizations and whatnot. Anything you can really do to just stay top of game, because if you're not the first agent that they're calling, then you're down to about a 15% chance of getting that listing or getting that buyer, which isn't great odds. But I feel like the mail outs and the home anniversary and the happy birthday and, all of those little mail outs, I know they can get expensive, but you're kind of filtering them out through the year. And with Command, you log into Command and the first thing in front of you on your screen is how many birthdays are this month and how many home anniversaries are this month. It's all there if you take the time to feed your database. And if you're not going to feed your database, you're going to be missing out on all of the things that database can do for you.
And if you have trouble with Command and you need the help, then you book an appointment with the office and go through Command with them, because you're paying for this. So this is already part of your everyday fees, and use it, right?
Well, prior to my working at KW, I worked for an independent. I worked for Coldwell Banker, Prudential. Nobody talked about databases. This whole thing was something, it's like, when you get into KW, they're throwing so much information at you, you don't really know what to do with it. But, once you grab a hold of the things that everybody keeps telling you over and over again, after you've been to KW, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Once you grab onto that, it's true. It's like a guided path to get where you need to go, but you need to follow the steps and you need to put the work in for this system that they created, which when they announced it in 2020, at Reunion, that they were going to be getting this far with it and whatnot, my thought process at the time was, yep, I'll learn it when they're done making it, which that's not going to happen. But if you're not utilizing, like I said, the database in Command and the different ways it can show you when you should reach out to people, the smart plans, that's all there. And that's all things that, you're already paying for that. It's not a big cost to you to figure out how to use that and leverage that for your business.
Yep, that's right. Exactly. All right, we're on page 12 if everybody's following along.
Okay, can you flip to?
Yeah, I'm flipping it. Yep, sorry.
Thank you. So our clients never stop being our contacts. We'll continue to nurture them and the relationship with them after the transaction and remain somewhat in emotional proximity in order to help us get to share our value proposition. The whole thing is you want to keep them in your database and keep front row center for their potential future business. But I know, I'm sure it's the same thing in a larger center like Halifax, but I know here in Cape Breton, the big thing is everybody knows everybody. So, you get one And then it's, oh, well, my aunt sold her house with you 6 months ago and she told me to call you, or my best friend, or like I've seen me at one point where it's like, I know the whole family, the extended family. I've got brothers-in-laws and sisters-in-law, and it all comes from that first person that you make a connection with and you stay connected with, and they want to send the business to you. They want to tell their friends, because the fact is, you know, how many of us are 100% confident in just going online and searching somebody and saying, oh, okay, well, I just found them, you know, I'll just call them. A lot of people want their friends' experiences. They want to know, who did you deal with? Were you happy with them? And that can go either way for you. You know, so how many times have you asked, you know, you need a hairdresser, how's your doctor? Where do you go to the tailor? What restaurants do you like? I mean, that's all part of what we do in human nature. And if you're doing your database correctly, that's going to work for your advantage for referrals of all different kinds from people that you wouldn't even see it coming from. And they're, oh, well, you know, somebody told me about you, you know, we were, could be at a function and somebody said, well, I'm going to sell the house. Oh, well, you know, I've used Jen before. Well, if I'm staying front row center, then there's a good chance they will do that. If I'm not, that opportunity's lost.
Yep.
So I'm getting a little script here. I don't want to miss anything. I think I got it. I might have got it.
Yeah, no, I think you
Yeah, I'm
did.
not a teacher. But you know, 47% of buyers who use an agent will refer them to a friend or relative, and it jumps to 57 for first-time home buyers, because obviously with a first-time home buyer, you're nervous. You want to make sure you have somebody that's going to spend the time and take the time to explain all the ins and outs to you, so you understand the process as you're going through.
I feel like you're in a really good position for your first time home buyer, because you are you're so thorough right now. And I'm not going to take away from how I feel about it, but sometimes I take that for granted because I've done it a few more times. And I'm just like, just sign here, dot loop, instead of sitting down and reading it over with them, which is obviously what we always should be doing. You're going to sit down and you're learning. So you're teaching them. So they're getting really good service. Okay.
Yeah, and that's something that's I've had in my mind, if I ever come across somebody who asks me about my experience, or if I'm in a listing presentation against somebody with more experience,
Yeah.
you know, I'm used to my advantage, the fact that I am newer.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm building my reputation on what I give you, as opposed to, I already have the reputation built, so it's not a big deal, you know, like I'm putting all of my focus into this.
Yeah.
So there's ways to use it to my advantage.
You know, Trevor, who is on our team, and he's so cute, but he's been in it for a few years now, but he's still learning too. And he said to me the other day, something about being scared to make a mistake. Okay, so he's super thorough. He reads everything. He is so by the book, whereas sometimes I should be, and I'm not, and I take that for granted a little bit. But he's so worried about making a mistake that everything is crossed. T's are crossed, I's are dotted, all that stuff. So you're in a good position right now to give your client, first-time homebuyer client that you wrote an offer with yesterday, good service, and then they'll refer you because they're gonna have such a good experience with you. So this is how it's gonna pan out for you. You're gonna get referrals.
The more
Okay.
comfortable they are in the transaction, the more willing they're going to be to refer you to somebody also. I find a lot of times, you know, like you'll try to explain something, especially in a first-time home buyer, and they're kind of looking at you with a blank stare, and you're like, okay, do you have any questions? No, but you know they have questions, because
Yeah.
of course they're going to have questions, right? So with me, you're not getting through a contract with me without me going through the whole thing in detail and making sure that the questions are answered, because as long as they know what's going on, they're not going to panic. And the
Yeah.
moment they don't, you're going to be trying to talk them off the cliff. So
Right. That's right, exactly. All right, so are you good, Jen?
Yep.
Okay, so now we're touch plans. Okay, so scripted a little bit. Remind your participants, which is all of you fine folk, that we are already created the foundation for 36 to convert when they designed their 19 to connect touch plan in session 11. have an absolutely zero clue what that means, that you guys learned that. I mean, again, it's pretty straightforward, but you guys went into detail, I'm sure, about that. Does that make sense? 36 to convert plan is like, so it is a comprehensive program with different layers of input. It contains a mixture of phone calls, newsletters, events, market updates, home valuations, and other value-based products. The trick to find what people are in your market value and to design your touches to match what they value. Iris, this is a really good follow-up to your question on what you can do, okay? So this is good. So you guys are learning in Ignite how to touch your touch plans, how to, you know, so there's some examples, Iris, of what you asked about. So phone calls, newsletters, events, market updates, home valuations, and other value-based products. That's how you can better your business. Is that a good follow-up to your earlier question?
Yes, I got.
Oh, you're
Yeah, I
there,
just
okay.
mute myself.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So again, it says encourage 2 to 4 participants to share their ideas. Does anybody want to share anything about your touch plans? I think it's pretty straightforward. We've talked about it quite a bit today already, touching
And
people.
just in case anyone there is feeling a little bit, oh, well, I don't know, just to let you know, there's all kinds of us that have been in the business a long time that want nothing to do with quarterly telephone calls.
Yeah.
That would
If
be.
I could tell you in the run of a week, how many phone calls I have compared to text messages, mind blowing. But when we first started in the business, all we did was talk to people on the phone. So I find it really hard to have that, you know, again, it's the same old thing. Even when you call realtors, they don't answer their phone. It's like, I want to shake the phone, like, just answer your phone. I need to talk to you. But anyways, let's all be better about that. Telephone calls are important. I mean, it gives you once a week, call a friend, call somebody. That could be part of your touch plan too. 1 phone call a week, 10 text messages, 50 Facebook likes. I don't know, make a plan for that week. It could be different every week, but touching. Okay.
I just want to say that I got a listing from a Facebook friend who it was a high school friend who I maybe talked to twice in high school. We liked each other, or friended each other on Facebook, and we never talked on Facebook, but I got a listing from him just because he was seeing everything.
Yes.
And I looked, creeped him, of course, and he had like 7 or 8 different agent friends.
Yeah.
In the city.
Yeah.
So you don't even know that you were.
You don't.
You're touching people.
And ask. I like to ask. I'm like, oh, where did you get? One of my touches the other day was she had called me in to do a market analysis of her house on Prospect Road. And I said, I always like to ask, like, how did you get my name? Because I didn't know her at all. And she said, I walk by your billboard every day on my morning walk. And I said, oh, that's great. So to me, I'm touching 400 cars a day because they're seeing me. Okay, so it's worth the money for me to have that there. So again, touch plans, super important. Keller Williams talks about touches all the time. Okay, so let's say scripted, explain how agents use the 4 telephone calls to deepen relationships and gather information on what messages are connecting in the market of the moment. The response rate you get to different message content provides the information you need to know what is working and what people are ignoring so you can use it in your campaigns. So if you're not, you know, again, you can gauge that yourselves as your plans. If you find that you're calling people and they're hanging up on you, well, maybe that's not working for you. That's okay. I listened to a realtor on a phone conversation. I was working out here and he was back there, and man, was he good. And he was a newer agent and he was super confident on the phone. And I said, that's what you should be doing. Like, you're super confident behind that phone call. So some people are more confident on the phone than in person. So what works for you is what you're going to add into you, but pan it out, do a couple of different things each week, and then you'll get better at them every week. Keep it in your plan, touch, and you'll get better at it as the time goes on. Okay.
Okay, use the 6 connection questions, include a MOFR, make an offer for immediate response. Our messages for the 36 touches should do two things. One, build our connection to the contact by getting to know their needs and wants. And two, elicit a response from the contact that puts you in a dialogue with them as quickly as possible. We call these the latter a MOFR, make an offer for immediate response. Remind the participants. Here's my scripted part. Remind the participants in 6 connection questions that were covered in session 11, which we wouldn't have been involved in. Who are they? What do they want or need to do? Where do they want or need to do it? Why do they want or need to do it? When do they want to need to do it? And how do they plan to do it?
That all make sense? Did you learn that in session 11? Okay, awesome.
So a MOFR can be a direct offer, one designated to get a response from someone who is ready to buy or sell with you now, or an indirect offer or message is not directly about buying or selling, however, could build your relationship with the contact. Like I would say in some of this scenario, like Allison, where you were talking about Facebook and whatnot, when you see the agent say, which would you prefer, this cabin in the woods versus, this beach house, and you'll see they're all getting comments from people. Well, when people are engaging in that post, it doesn't necessarily need to be, hey, I give free market analysis or I'm a realtor. As soon as they engage in that post, that something's going to be memorable to them, unless of course they're the keyboard warriors that are posting on absolutely everything on Facebook. But you know what I'm saying? Like you're engaging them in something as opposed to just your normal marketing of, hey, I'm a realtor. What can I help you with? Are you buying or selling? I can do your market analysis. It's just a different way of engaging with the client.
Yep.
And then it says here that we should brainstorm ideas on this whole scenario of how to engage the client. So any thoughts?
Good idea. Shelley, you are quiet today.
I'm here.
Come on, give us some ideas. You're good at this. You do it every day online. Every morning I wake up, I see your posts.
I do.
Yeah, so that you're a good example of this.
So I feel like my target market are my grown-up adult children's databases because they all know hundreds and hundreds of people and many of them will be first-time home buyers. So, and because I'm not a spring chicken, I've been around the block a few times and, I've just developed over my lifetime a huge database. So I'm trying to figure out how to get those people to realize that I've changed wheelhouses and this is what I do now. And
you do it well.
thank you.
Your videos are fantastic. Your touches every day on Facebook are really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you'll love to know this. I picked up a listing that's gonna happen next month, and it's from an Instagram post. I had no idea who this person was, but they just saw some of my stuff and they called me and I went over and they told me that, full disclosure, they've already interviewed the guy of the neighborhood who owns East Hants, and I won the listing.
Amazing. Good.
So social media works. I believe in it.
Yeah, and that's why I picked you for this example because you're super good at it.
Thank you.
There's a message.
Oh, we have a message. Hold on. How do I do it? How do I do it? I need to go. Thanks for the training. Okay, Iris, no problem. All right, moving on. So same thing, share examples of mofers. I don't even, oh my God. Such as an offer of a real estate market update or a CMA for contacts who own their homes. Okay, so that's another example. I do see a lot of realtors online offering, free market analysis. Sure, if you even got one from that, great, that works. That's a touch that you could turn into crafting your message, basically, if getting them. Remind them of the MOFR messages brought up with message and method in session 9. Okay, we're going right back to session 9. Do you guys remember? This awesome house just came on the market. If you're looking for a home in this neighborhood, call me right away. Super cool. You don't have to put a picture of the house because obviously we have to follow the standards of what we're advertising or whatever, but even something as simple as that, you know? This awesome house came up in this neighborhood. Blah, blah, blah. Interest rates are at the lowest ever. If you're considering buying now or thinking about refinancing, I can put you in touch with lenders who can work with you. Do you know about the prices of homes in your neighborhood or any area of town? I've got a report for you. Call, text, or visit my website to sign up. All kinds. There's hundreds of examples of things that you could just be posting on your social media to get people's attention. Pretty simple. Okay. Any questions on that? Crafting your message. Moving on. Oh. Hold on. Can't do anything until I do that.
Okay, so this section, develop your 36 touch plan. You're supposed to turn to the develop your 36 touch plan page in your participant guide and take 10 minutes for you to work alone or with a partner to write down what your 36 touch plan would look like.
And I can't wait to see it. And don't let this freak you out. Like this is super easy. 36 touch plan. I mean, just something that you feel is going to work for you in your everyday touches. You know, point form, something that you feel works well for you right now, works well for somebody else that you have been taught by. I mean, okay, Chad probably teaches you a lot of stuff every day when he's mentoring you of what works for him because Chad's fantastic. Okay. He's got a lot of insight on touches and what to do. And so, you know, learning from that. So what are we doing, Jen? 10 minutes?
Yeah, it says 10 minutes. And then Allison, you and I are to share some of our touch plans, which everybody here probably knows my phone calls aren't in mine. I'm not good at that.
Okay, well, we'll give you 10 minutes to work on that online. And then we'll just ask everybody to give maybe like a, 20-second idea of your touch plan before we move on. Okay, so it's 10 to 11 now. So we'll say at 11, or let's say just 5 to 11, we'll start talking again about it. Sound good?
One quick question.
Sure.
I don't see that sheet in my
In your
12,
what is it? 12.7.
Okay.
If anybody has any questions in the next, minutes, just speak it. We still have this on, open so you guys can ask a question.
Cold, I do.
All right, Jen, do you want to start talking about it?
Okay, well, where do you want to start? Who wants to start with their plan?
We'll pick if you don't answer.
This is the stuff we didn't have to really do through the pandemic because the business was just flying everywhere. But this is kind of taking us back to the basics as to when the market isn't what it looked like through our craziness of the pandemic.
Exactly. How about you, Shelley? No? She's not there. She took a break. That's okay.
For my phone call, I only have one phone call here, just like going to catch up. Just because I learned recently that a touch doesn't need to be real estate specific, it can just
Right.
be communicating with somebody, so that's an easy icebreaker, calling to catch up. Bi-weekly emails, neighborhood sales updates. Event number 1, just let people know that I'm working in real estate and happy to be the source of local and neighborhood information. Promotional direct mail, recent sales in the neighborhood. I just signed up for a cool system called Home Beats, which is essentially giving people CMAs.
Cool.
So we can offer that, or a giveaway.
That's a really good plan. Also, remember your business card is approved and has all your information on it,
Yeah.
and putting that on social media once a week, super cool idea. Okay? Because you already have that approved. That has already been through the approval stage, through marketing. It has all your information on it. And maybe once a week, put your card up on your social media and say, hey, just a reminder to all my friends out there. Here's my new information, or here's my information to share. Just reminds them how to get you. Pretty simple. Okay, that's a good touch.
And would you do some of that on your personal page versus business page?
Yeah,
that's
I'm not a really good example of that because I don't follow that. My personal page is my business page. I kind of share a little bit of each and try not to overload. I'm pretty big on Facebook, and I'm proud of that, and maybe it annoys people, and if they don't want to see it, they can certainly unfollow me. I'm okay with that, but I'm not going to stop doing it. So I don't have a business page and a personal page. I kind of have it combined, but I've always been told you should have that separate. You should have that separate. So it doesn't really matter. Personal page, business page, any page. Doesn't matter where it is. Put it out there. Yeah, 100%.
Now,
Gosh,
see,
Instagram.
I would be on the other end of that. I don't post a whole lot of stuff on my personal page.
Yep.
I do have a separate business page.
Yeah, and that's
And
perfect.
what I do is, and again, I'm not probably the one you want to follow on the social media stuff because I'm very quiet on social media beyond wishing people happy birthday. But I post all of my real estate stuff on my business page. But then what I do is I share it to my personal page so I can
Yeah.
get it out there to the people that might not be following my business page.
And whatever works for you. might not work for another person. It doesn't, there's no rules to it. As long as you're following the rules of advertising, because there are rules, you know, you have to have your certain thing, certain size and your realtor logo and all this and not to, you know, all that stuff. You just have to follow the rules, obviously. But I mean, whatever works for you is a touch, okay? What about you, Jen? Do you want to share your touch plan?
Well, I mean, I kind of skimmed on it earlier. I do quite a bit. I've done a lot of mail outs in the past. I do the monthly neighborhood nurture to my clients. I do birthday cards. I do home anniversary cards. I do the Christmas cards with the magnets. I'm not really, my social media is more advertising, the listing, virtual tours, whatnot. It's not really things, I should be better at getting people engaged. But I'm still trying to cross over the social media hump that I haven't made it over yet, in the fact of making myself share and being more creative, as opposed to, oh, I'll just throw this house up there. So I'm definitely not going to be one of the ones you're going to follow on how to do it social media wise. I did, however, though, I found with my business page, trying to grow it, I did a few contests, which I found really gave me the opportunity to grow the people that are following my business page, you know, whether it be a card detailing gift certificate or whatnot, just to get it out there, get people engaged. And I have had people contact me through my page for listing or for purchasing that have been following the page. You know, so that did work in trying to grow it, because I did find it was kind of, you know, where do you go to get enough followers that this page is going to be seen?
Yeah, exactly. And I will give you a quick example before we move on, that Jen, we didn't really know each other all that well, but I did follow her on Facebook, and my grandmother's house went up for sale a few years ago in Sydney, and I contacted her. So whatever she's saying about social media, maybe her little bit that she does or doesn't nurture it, it worked, because it worked. That's where I found her. So, I mean, again, it's all in how you do it yourself. So you could spend 4 hours doing it, or you could spend 1 hour doing it, but you have to make that decision. Okay. Okay. So, in conclusion, for nurturing relationships, because we're on the tail last 2 pages of this, if you have 200 contacts in your database and you put them all on a 36 touch plan. So do you know what a 36 touch plan is? Right, exactly. So figuring out how many 36 touches, however, these 36 touches are going to be, make that part of your every day. Okay, or month, or however you want to do that. So how many touches is that per year? Off the cuff, if you touched 200 contacts in your database 36 times. There it is. Okay.
The touches that you like, do you know how many touches you did?
No, you could.
But
You could. No one's going to stop you from doing that if you went through whatever.
It's what people generally do.
No.
He keeps giving us these numbers. Is it just a guideline?
I think it's a guideline.
Yeah.
It's what they're saying is, you know, okay, here's an example. If you touched, if you touched your 200 people in your phone, you know, however many times you're touching people 7,200 times. It doesn't have to be that number, you know, but if you had 200 people in your phone and you texted them once a month and said, hey, here's my card, just wanted to remind you, and you texted your card to them, well, there's 200 touches.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a great plan for sure. Okay. So what am I going to read here? They also share that the way to get there is to break down our someday goals into smaller and smaller goals until we get to a daily goal. And right now, a goal. They call this goal setting. Goal setting to the now. Okay. Doesn't matter. Don't overwhelm yourself with it. If you did one goal setting a day, you're doing something. Okay. Don't just sit back and not do anything. Have a little plan. To stay motivated to keep up with your touches, remember that every touch is getting you closer to your someday goal and feeds your big why. Those 7,200 touches are how to get to your someday goal. So the someday goal is really important. We have to have something to look forward to. And I always kind of like retreat to, I'm going to go to Cuba. That's my goal this year. I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to work my ass off to get to that goal. Okay. So do whatever you can to make yourself feel like you can sit on that beach and know that you worked hard to get there. Okay. That should be in your goal planning. And I know that we've all had, plans, goal planning or yearly plans or whatever, but make that part of your goal because then it's going to feel good. Your someday goal is really super important. Okay. Remind participants they can leverage tools like Smart Plans, Twilio, and Command to make their touch plans consistent. I mean, Command, again, we're getting back to, selling Command. I can't sell it enough. Honestly, there's so much valuable information in Command that make that part of your daily touch too. Learn about it, touch it, go in there, make your cards. You can advertise properties in there. Oh, it's so amazing. Anyways, and if you don't know how to do it, sorry, Jen, I'm talking, it's your page. If
No, you
don't
keep
know how-
going.
Yeah, if you don't know how to do it, you can learn about it because there's a lot of 100% the best training on Command in this company. Okay. So just make that part of you because there's so many things in there that you could use as your touch plan through Command. Anybody online want to share anything before we sign off on nurturing your database?
Yeah, I want to share something with the Jen know that like how I chase her. I see her like the sale sign everywhere in Sydney from last couple of years. Yeah, then I text her like I will also interested to be in the real estate. Then we set up the Zoom with Jen. No, that's really true. I see
Oh,
her
that's
signs
good.
everywhere. That's how.
See, Jen?
Yeah, then
Sorry.
Thanks.
yeah, then how I get the phone number, I see her signs, then I go to the Facebook, I type her name, and because I already like her page, I already follow her from last couple of years, and
Okay.
then I get your phone number, then I text you.
Okay, I didn't realize all that. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the biggest thing is you need to just be, as much as, again, I'm not jumping all over social media all the time and whatnot, but you need to be front row center for
Yeah,
your,
exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, that's just what you have to do is you have to continue to grow it and continue to be there.
Yep. Nurture your relationships, everybody. It is the most important thing to move ahead in this business. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So we are done part one. So now we're going to move on to, we might have to like scoot through this a little bit quicker, but qualifying potential buyers and sellers. So we're welcoming you all to session 13. Qualify potential buyers and sellers. I'm not going to introduce myself briefly because we've been together for 2 hours already. So I am your teacher again. And Jen too. Hey, hold on. I'm switching it over. Ooh, that one looks really crazy. Your face.
That's not the page.
No.
You've got me all messed up now. Okay, wait,
Where are we? Right
there
here?
you go. Yeah, I think,
What?
no,
No, back?
no, there. Yeah, that's the page.
Cool. There we are.
I'd apologize, but we already explained neither one of us are teachers. So today we are covering how to qualify potential buyers and sellers. Before we begin, let's hear about progress with the success system from yesterday. So we weren't here yesterday, so I don't really know where to go with that.
We can just move on.
Yeah, we're going through all
I
this
think-
birthday stuff again.
Yeah, we need to do that.
There's nothing really there, no.
No. Okay. So we're going to move on. So this is the beginning of session 13. Okay, so when we are new to something, it can be easy to get caught up in the myth understandings that block our success. Remember the lesson in day one about your limited beliefs. We talk about limited beliefs at KW all the time. That's what myth understandings are. Unlimit your thinking and move forward. Okay, so share an example of a myth you held about lead gen when you first started in the business. For example, you might share the myth that lead generation must cost money. And if you can't invest in advertising or a buying lead or a full database, you won't be successful. Not true. Okay. That is not true. Lead gen is one thing that we are taught here at Keller Williams that is most important. Anybody who has sat in this room, even in a monthly meeting or a training course, lead gen, how many times have you heard it? Lead generate, lead generate, lead generate. It is the only thing that is going to catapult you to a successful real estate business. It doesn't have to cost money. Obviously we all don't have, when we're starting out in the business, a ton of money to, start lead generating. Maybe you did, maybe you had, a nest egg to help you. That's fantastic. But there are ways to lead generate that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We've gone over these in the past course today as well on how to do it. And so what are some beliefs you currently hold about finding buyers and sellers? Find a partner, take 3 minutes to share beliefs that might be holding you back. Let's just talk about them. We don't need to find a partner. We're all partners here. Is there anything that you believe that's holding you back right now that we could maybe explain? I don't know, all of us together that could just get rid of that myth for you.
I have one. I don't want to feel too salesy.
Yeah.
when I lead generate. What are your thoughts there?
That's so good. I just love all this stuff because that's exactly how I feel too. I am not a good salesperson. I'm not, but people like me. I like to think people like me just because I'm nice. And I feel like that's how I get my business. That's super free to be kind, to be nice.
Personality.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't cost you any money to say hi to somebody in the morning. So I could maybe be the worst salesperson of all time. I just know how to talk to people in a kind way. This is why I love the culture committee so much, because we learn so much from just being nice to people. You don't have to be robotic. That's free, like, yes, we're scripted. There's a lot of really good scripts for Keller Williams to lead generate, for sure, but go off that script and be yourself. Like, you have an amazing personality. So do you. All of you do. Like, just go with that. You don't have to read them. That's why Jen and I were like, oh my God, we have to read this off the paper. I'm like, no, we don't. Let's just
Because
feel
yeah,
safe on
it doesn't seem real. Like, I know when I first got into KW and I saw all these scripts and everything, and I'm reading them and I'm going, well, that just like, this isn't me. This sounds like everything that it sounded like a script. And
Yeah.
so that's just not, I mean, there's things in the scripts that I find that you can use, but using a script for me has never been the way to do it, because I almost feel uncomfortable. I feel, very uncomfortable with a script. I need to just kind of do it. And you know what? You're not necessarily going to be for everybody.
No, it's true. And you know what, if you decide that taking one of the scripts for, maybe that Chad has given you for phone calling somebody, sure, have it out in front of you. You're going to filter away from that when you feel comfortable talking to somebody. You might start with it, you might not end with it, and that's okay. But having a personality is super key, for lead gen, okay? Because if you're like, hi, my name is Allison, I'm calling from Keller Williams. Do you think they really want to talk to you? No, be like, hello, how are you today? You'll find your way through it and how to gain your confidence through lead generation, but that is your work, is lead gen, for sure, okay?
How do you handle sales because being salesy?
I don't feel salesy one bit. Nope, not a bit. I just think it's you. That's you. You're just giving them your information. Just be like, hey, if you ever need me, here it is. I don't feel salesy at all, but here's one example for me for lead gen. I used to do cards. If I was going socializing, I would do like I don't even know, say you had a sunflower on it, and it'd be like, hey, just want to say hey to you, it's nice to see you today, and it has my business card in it. And my friends used to laugh. They'd be like, how many more cards are you going to give us? But it's just something simple and nice. I don't know. You can be salesy to a degree, for sure. I mean, that shows your confidence, right? So you have to be to some degree.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Look at Shelly. I see her online talking about Keller Williams in real estate every single day, and I don't feel she's salesy at all. She's lovely. And there are some that I scroll past on social media of other companies and stuff, and I'm like, but she's got her niche where she just feels confident talking to people, and she's new to the business too, but she doesn't seem salesy to me at all. She just feels comfortable. She looks comfortable. She talks nicely. You feel like you want to be around her. Okay. So I don't know. I think that will come with confidence too.
Yeah.
Right? Right, Shelley?
Thank you.
Good.
I left a 20-year career in hospitality to start this new venture.
I knew there was a reason you had a good personality.
But just yesterday, actually, there was a new Milestones that opened up at Macbeth Mall, and I live in Dartmouth. And for a number of reasons, I went and applied for a job there. One, because I surprisingly missed the industry a little bit, the interaction with people. But I was really good at making those connections with people. And that was pre-real estate. And now that I am in real estate, I'm realizing that that's going to be a great way for me to make connections. So anybody who wants to come to Milestones and make my
Hey,
on Friday or
listen,
Saturday
honest to
nights,
God,
now my business
it's
is
going to work for
running
you.
all the time.
It's going to work for you.
Yeah.
One of my really good friends doesn't work at this company, but he worked at Swiss Chalet for years while he had his real estate license, and the connections he built there
Yeah.
catapulted him, you know, but you talking to people, that's going to help you, you know?
Yeah, and having my cards available, because I realized that it wasn't even just something that's kind of natural for me, and I think it is for you as
Yeah.
well, where you can just connect with people.
Yeah.
Even if you're not necessarily trying to, it's just
Yeah.
We are.
When I first started in real estate, I worked at the Metro Center as a bartender.
Oh, cool.
Totally fun,
Yeah.
was easy going twice a week, but it got me connections.
Yeah.
You have to build them.
So that's
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So that's one of my motivations too. And side hustle.
Yeah, cool. So that's going to bring you to finding buyers and sellers, right? Doing your lead gen. Okay. So that that's a really good example. All right, Jen.
Next page.
This one looks really sad. Look at all these stats.
So the National Association of Realtors collects data every year on buyers and sellers' experience with a real estate transaction. This table shows the results from the buyers from 2021. So if you're taking a look at this, you know, it's great that you've got a website or, you know, you did an open house or whatnot, but this all leads back to a referral from a friend, neighbor, or relative is going to be the majority of the way business is distributed amongst agents. You see 47% of all buyers, first-time buyers, 57, obviously, because they're very green and they want, they're really nervous, basically. And again, you've got the second one here, used agent previously for a transaction. Like, I feel like if you were doing your lead gen to the point, I mean, obviously, I am certainly not doing exactly what they're telling us in this course, but if you're doing that and you're doing it well, I believe that you would probably have a higher percentage of just because you used them before. But you know, if you look here, if you're not doing your lead gen and you're not getting referrals from your clients, there's not a whole lot left there on this screen, you know, for you, I guess, is the best way to put it. The biggest thing is every client you have, lead gen it to death, you know, do the best job you can. And those referrals are always going to be more worthwhile than a website or a radio ad or, you know, a television commercial. This is one-on-one personal experience, which is always going to be top.
Yeah. A referral is your best compliment. 100%.
Yeah. Another thing too, with your social media and whatnot, when you are trying to bring people into your website or your homepage, there's nothing better than having a client when the deal is all done, writing you a little review and a testimonial and putting it on the website so that other people can see exactly what your clients have to say. It's a great tool to use. Hold on. I
Want me to
just
go back?
page by mistake. Hold on. No, I've got two computers set up here so I don't mess this up.
No, we're just going to switch over now to how sellers found their agent. And again, look at that. referrals, okay? So how you left somebody feeling is how they're going to feel about you for the future. So they're going to refer you to their friends, their family, their neighbor. That is the biggest compliment you can get. Do your job well and they will refer you.
Absolutely.
It is the number one way I get business is referrals. And
Majority
I-
of my business is word of mouth. I'll say
Yep.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the National Association of Realtors data on sellers is quite like the data on buyers. What do these numbers tell us about where to find potential sellers? Again, referrals. Used agent previously for a transaction. So yeah, so I mean, even that one's good, 29%, you know, that they've used you before, they want to use you again, but in between that, you need to keep in touch with them. Super important that you don't just drop them after the sale closes and you get paid. Okay, 1 year later. So Jerry and Annette are really good. And I tell this example all the time. We do anniversary cards every year. So every month of the next year, we see who we sold to, who we had as a client, and we send them a message, whether it's a card or a drop off or a text message or a phone call. We get in touch with them. It's been a year. How's your house? Like, super important to follow up on your database that way too. Okay. So
Amazon have some great cards that you can purchase too for the realtor's needs. If you go on Amazon, there's quite a few different cards that you can get as a realtor to mail out to people.
So look at the difference here, okay? This is where you're getting your business. So important that they refer you. So work on that as part of your yearly plan, okay? Anybody else have any ideas online? Those stats are pretty straightforward, I think. Okay. Hold on, I'm going. Oh, there it is.
Okay, as you've been experiencing, Keller Williams has a defined model and system for everything you need to do in real estate. Likewise, KW has its own language, like leads and contacts which you're already familiar with. Opportunities is a word and command we use to define your sales pipeline or business. Tracks all your potential deals or transactions as they move through the pipeline. So it's a best practice to put A, B, and C potential clients into opportunities pipeline and command to track their progress. So, I mean, you may have somebody that you picked up as a buyer, but they're looking for a particular type of property that isn't going to be around every day, and they're in there, and you might hear from them once a year. Well, you might have them in cultivate instead of active. You know, you got to kind of figure out where everybody is. Keep them up on your screen, keep them front row center, but you know, obviously your A clients, which would be the ones that are ready to go right now, are going to be at the forefront of what you're doing in opportunities.
So
Okay.
once you start using command more, once you start getting, you know, your sales in there, it's going to be your Bible. It is my Bible for my team. For me, it's amazing. I can see everything. I can see my opportunities are the best database you can have because it shows your contacts. It shows when you can build so many things off of that opportunity in
I
command.
about this last, well,
Yeah.
I had it explained to me a bit more last week, and I've been adding to it, and it's very helpful.
For sure. And then once, say for instance, this offer you wrote last night and you would get, it becomes a sale. Well, that's going to go into your opportunity. You're going to build off of that. That's where everything is going to start for you. Do you use command? Yeah, super awesome. So yeah, going Jen.
Just basically, it's a great way to track your clients, track your paperwork, track everything. Like command, I know we all sound like broken record, but it's true. If you want to run this basically envelops everything into one spot so you can see exactly what you are at any point, instead of the paper chase that I still do with myself, where I write something down and I mean to go back to it. And I don't. It's just a great place to keep everything in the same spot, along with, you know, any touches that you do or anything like that. There's a whole other scenario within this system that you can actually put notes on each one of your opportunities as you go and just verbally put them into command. And you can go back and you can see exactly when was the last time I did something. Everything is just tracked better for you.
Yeah, and also admin keeps us in line with those command files too. So,
Absolutely.
you know, once your opportunity is in there and it becomes a sale, well, then they're sending you reminders of what you need to put in there and what you need to get paid and why they're holding your file because this file is missing and it just keeps you accountable. Okay.
Well, there was nothing worse back in the day when you were sending stuff into the office, when you're like, oh, did I send that in? Did I send this in? And this mirror image that you can see through command that exactly what admin's looking at, you're looking at, and you know, oh, I didn't upload the latest one of that, or, oh, that initial, we got that initial afterwards, it's not there. And it's just going to make everything in your life way easier.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Any questions online? Nope. Okay, so able, ready, and willing come from curiosity. I think we're all sitting here today because we are curious about, you know, real estate, this industry, how to be better, how to sell a house, how to be the best realtor we can be. So when we are determining the able, ready, and willingness of a potential client, we emphasize come from curiosity. Why do we stress this? Okay, so you guys have your participant guide. It explains how we define it. Able, potential client is financially and legally capable of completing a transaction now. Ready, potential client is motivated and prepared to make strategic decisions now. Willing, potential client is eager to buy, sell, or both. How can we use this framework to help us differentiate buyers and sellers who will be doing business in the next 14 days from potential buyers and sellers we need to continue to cultivate? Pretty straightforward, I think. Okay, once you've developed a relationship with them, you're going to know, you know, right away. So, you know, you get that phone call that we all want. Hey, it's so-and-so, I'm ready to make an offer on that house. Awesome. Okay. Or you're going to know. We're pretty good salespeople, I think, to figure out, you know, who we have to cultivate and who we, you know, need to nurture and how to, but this is all stuff as we learn more about the industry and how to talk to people in our communications, okay? Does anybody have any ideas on that? Clear as mud? All right.
Okay, so you've got your different types of opportunity. You've got your A, B, and C categories. Okay, in session 11, converting possible business into profitable business, we covered on how to convert leads to appointments. And then in session 12, nurture relationships, we covered staying in a relationship with contacts who are not necessarily ready to transact right away. So we've got A, B, and C. When we have someone who is able, ready, willing, and motivated to do business soon, there are A buyers or sellers. Our number one goal is to get the appointment and get either a buyer's agreement or a listing agreement signed. As the B buyer and seller, they're either unable or not ready or not willing right now. So, you know, that could be a scenario of different things that they're not quite there yet. They may be motivated, but something has to happen first, whether, you know, it's a job transfer or whatever the case is of what's going on in their life. They may say, well, I want, you know, my daughter to finish school the end of the year before we make a move. You know, it could be just about anything. Our number one goal there is to stay in touch and frequently and using your touch plan and your MOFers. But basically just stay there, stay in close proximity until they are ready. And then you've got your C buyers that have no immediate plans to transact, but they are ideal for your 36 touch plan and your any nurturing, any smart plan. Send them out and just kind of stay around until they are ready.
Don't forget about your C. Don't forget about C. Super important not to forget about C buyers and sellers, okay? Even though they say
setting up 6 months time from now, you know, it's kind of almost money in the bank, but you're just not there yet.
And it will be eventually. I have a military client right now who approached me last year and she said, I'm not going to be ready until summer 2024. Well, I text her once a month to say hi.
Yeah.
Because if I forgot about her 6 months ago and then come June when she's ready, she might have forgotten about me. Okay. So every month I just say, hey, how are you doing? Just wanted to check on you. I'm not, you know, gentle touch that I'm here for you. Super easy. Just to say hi. She appreciates it every month. She says, hey, Allison, so glad to hear from you. I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready. That's a C buyer or seller, but I keep in touch with her. Okay, super, super important. Okay, I'm gonna
Well,
give you an
sometimes you're
example.
almost pushing them along too. When they get that
Yeah.
next phone call from you, they're, oh God, I gotta get to that this week. I'm almost, like you almost kind of light a little bit of a fire by checking in with them.
Yep. I'm gonna give you an example of a B seller or buyer that just happened to me that I messed up. Okay, so she contacted me and she was hot to trot, but she said, I'm not ready to list till March. Well, made a little bit of a mistake that we had some time. Okay, so I just kind of didn't lollygag on it, but I was like, okay, when did you want to meet? And anyways, through the jigs and the reel, I was a little too light on her, and she said, oh, I'm sorry. And we had talked quite a bit. She said, I needed somebody to come right away. I didn't think she was even signing until March. My mistake. She wanted to sign right now to list in March, but I was a little light on my feet on that one and didn't really, put her as a priority, and it backfired on me. Okay, so now come March, she's gonna have a sign on Prospect Road and I'm gonna be really effing mad. Okay, but you have to move on from that and you have to learn from it. So I should have pounced that day because I didn't know she wanted to sign the paperwork right away. Well, that was my fault. Okay, so you learn from all these things as you're going along, that even the B buyers and sellers you need to be on them.
If they already signed a BDBA with you, are they considered a seller?
Yeah, for sure.
Even if they're not going to be transacting within 0
Yeah.
90 days.
100%. You're in contract with them the minute you sign it with them. Yeah, and that's you're very safe once that BDBA is signed. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing.
Yeah.
So you have a time frame and that's signed, and that means that you're transacted with them. Keep on them every day now. Okay. Jen, anything else to add there?
No.
Anybody else online have an example? Sue, Shelley, Maureen? Nobody? Okay.
I have a buyer that's been signed for 2 years now.
Yeah,
They want to buy. They couldn't find anything. They couldn't,
yeah,
during 2022,
yeah.
so then they run out. So
And then you redo them.
redo them. and
Yeah.
They need to get a new mortgage approval. Then things change, but they still want to stay signed, so they still want to buy, they want to buy with me, and they're willing to sign that BDBA.
So they're
great.
they're buyers and sellers, or they're buyers. Yes. You're in transaction with them, so you just keep on them. Hey, tomorrow something could come up. You don't know, right?
Can I ask a question of everybody here? Because I'm curious. How long is the standard that you like to propose for a contract?
I would like a year.
What is this story? I couldn't hear that.
Yeah.
90 days, and then I'm hearing these-
So he's asked how long to put a buyer in a BDBA. What is everybody doing these days for a BDBA?
I do a year.
timeframe?
When I got into this business, and it goes back to the mindset that we talked about earlier, you're not confident. You get it, when you're first starting out, you're not confident, and it's almost like, oh, well, I know I'm in competing with against somebody else. You almost defeat yourself. And, maybe I should do a shorter contract because it's more appealing to clients. Well, great for them, but if you're doing like a 3-month and you spend all your time for 3 months, and at the end of 3 months, they don't sign, they go buy from another agent in a week, you're not going to be too happy. You have to make sure that you've set yourself up in a situation where you're not time crunching yourself and losing out on the deal. There's nothing worse. You have a listing, and then when it expires, they go with another agent. And at that point, they listen to the price you told them to begin with that they didn't listen to. So, obviously, if you end up in a scenario where the relationship isn't working out well, you're not going to keep them, hostage in it. But with myself, like I like a year. I want a year in a BDBA, and essentially I'd like a year in an SDBA, because you're putting your time, you're putting your effort, you're putting all that into it. And unless there's a reason for it not to continue, then if you do a short timeline, you could be doing all that for nothing.
You can have that conversation with them too, that just say, you're gonna know what they're gonna want to do, but just say, generally, I'd like to sign till the end of the year. If in fact, we hey, listen, not everybody is gonna be your cup of tea. I put somebody in an SDVA and he was the worst client. I had to pit my stomach every time I drove to his house and I took him out of his SDVA. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna know, but they might say, no, I would rather 3 months.
Yeah.
6 months is better, a year is long, but you feel them out. Yeah,
I
feel
don't
them
know
out.
what I got. What's my mind?
Well, I think because we're trained that 3 months is what we have to do for an SDBA on the system. You can't go any shorter than that. So 90 days is what we need to get a listing in the Paragon MLS system, okay? But longer the better for sure.
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
question about it,
Yeah.
especially in a shifting market right now.
It's not set in stone either. I shouldn't say that. I mean, if I go into a house and somebody says, well, I'm not comfortable with signing any more than 3 months. But I
Yeah.
know that we've sat down and I've done my presentation and they're listening to me on price. And I really am very confident that that house is going to be gone immediately because they're listening to the way, the pricing that we talked about in the CMA that I gave them. Well, you have to weigh it out. But I mean, if you've got somebody that wants to do 3 months and they want to list like $40,000 or $50,000 more than what your CMA is, you kind of have to figure out whether or not you want any part of that.
Yeah, that's right. I'll give you an example. I have a mortgage broker friend, super good friend, super invested in real estate. He's a mortgage broker, but he buys and sells all the time. And when I first started working with him, I'm like, shit, he's got lots of contacts in this industry. I'm putting him in a year, and he roared. He was like, Allison, I see you put your dates as a year. I'm like, sign it up, bud, because you're staying with me for a year. And he thought that was hilarious. And I said, I'm going to be totally honest with you. You have a lot of contacts in this industry. So if I work with you for 3 months and you decide that, Ashley from Roy LePage gave you more business in that 3 months than I did as a mortgage broker, I don't want you ditching me. So I always put him in a year, and he laughs every time. But it's true, okay? Because things will change. But
Right.
but protect yourself. They might, if they like you, they're not going to say no.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right, so why qualify? So in the last section, you started with the win-win of qualification. Our potential clients win because we provide them with the right value at the right time, and we win because we get to focus our attention on helping clients who are ready to buy or sell. Based on what you covered in previous sessions about segmenting your database, what might some additional advantages of qualifying leads and contacts? So qualifying your leads. Give me an example, Shelley, of what qualifying your leads means. It's not there. Sue, do you have any?
Sorry,
idea? Oh, no,
I
Shelley's
didn't,
there.
I was on
Yeah.
mute.
Yeah, no problem.
Qualifying my leads means, I want to make sure that they're pre-approved.
100%.
Yeah, that's a big one. And that I don't know what else.
I think another big one is asking the question if they're working with another realtor, because
Yes,
that
yes.
happens a lot where you get a call because you listed something and they want a showing tomorrow and they have all these questions. And as soon as my first 2 questions are always, are you pre-qualified? Are you working with somebody? And most times they're gonna be like, well, I've been working with so-and-so and, yeah, but they don't think of that off the hop. They just get so excited about the listing that you just need to make sure, if you've got an agent, I can send everything over to them.
True, and your BDBA is qualifying them too, okay? So that's getting them in contract with you. So that's a really good step as well. But yeah, pre-qualifying them financially is a really good thing. Yeah, anything else?
Making sure they understand all of the expenses associated with a closing, your down
Yeah.
payment, your deed transfer tax, your legal fees, anything that's going to come up. You need to make sure that they've realized that they need to have all that money aside for that.
It's always nice to have a sit down with them, whether it's at a coffee shop or even in here, have a meeting with them, and when you're starting the process with them to talk about what they have lots of questions. Honestly, if you sat down with a buyer who's getting into the business, they have a lot of questions. As you said last night, I'd answer all their questions all day. They have a lot of questions. We think they know the answers. They don't know the answers. We have to teach them about buying a house, selling a house. Like this is our job. They have zero clue. on what they're doing, okay? We use the same buyer qualification process for all buyers and the same seller qualification process for all sellers to make sure we are always in compliance. Obviously, we're taught that, we have to make sure that we are following the rules as well. You know, there's so many things that you could sit down and, you know, say in front of people, that, you know, could get you in trouble or not in trouble. So just always be, you know, remember what you're taught at Keller Williams and what, you know, to say in front of people. I think we're all pretty smart about that. However, there are times when, you know, you might not be and you're in competition and you want to say something, but you're not going to say something about the person you're in competition with. Remind agents that documenting their qualification system and having a checklist makes it very easy to be consistent. It ensures they will provide every client with the same high quality service. So when you walk into your, you know, seller appointment, you've got your checklist. Awesome. Go through your checklist. Make that easy for you. Just everything. You're not going to miss anything if you're going down there. You're not going to care if you're checking off a box of what you're talking about with them. That just makes you look really, you know, qualified to talk to them. You're, you know, you're organized. Yeah, that's it for me. Win-win.
Okay, so this whole section wants me to do a role play. Allison, are you in on the role play?
I sure am.
So
That wasn't scripted, honest.
no, I'm just sitting here going, okay, I just want to skip this whole page. But so the use the buyer lead sheet to guide you through the qualification. An example is included in your participant guide. So hi, Allison. I'm excited to help you find your new home. I'd like to start with some questions to make sure I can give you a 5-star customer experience. Let's start with some basics. What's the best email and phone number to reach you?
Allison Godso at kw.com, 902-476-4889.
Thank you for those. And what are the best times that I'd be able to reach you?
You could try anytime. I think afternoons are generally better for me. But if you don't get me, you could probably leave me a message, no problem.
Okay, and has another agent taken you out or shown you many properties?
Yes, one, but we just didn't jive. So I'm looking for the right fit for me. So yeah, no problem.
Okay, great. Let's add there. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you went off script, my dear, because this is saying volunteer says no. So my response to that is, well, I'm sorry that didn't work out.
Nobody did.
So I'm
going.
sorry that didn't work out the way you'd hoped. You know, I'm looking forward to exceeding your expectations and taking you to some properties. Is there anyone else you're going to be purchasing the home with?
No, not at this point, no.
Okay. I want to help you find the home that fits your needs, and I'm skipping the needs of the other person buying with you. Who will be living in the home?
It'll be myself and my husband, and we have 2 children at home.
Okay, we'll find one the right fit. How long have you been looking?
Well, generally just kind of curious over the last 6 months, but haven't really started serious yet.
Okay, and why are you moving?
I think we just would like to downsize a little bit. We had 4 kids, so we're downsizing. You know, cut some costs monthly to downsize. A little smaller house. We don't really want to do much upkeep anymore.
Okay, that's a great reason to be in the market. Do you need to sell your current home before you purchase?
No, I don't. We're going to keep it as a rental.
Okay, so when would be a good time?
Maybe.
Brave. When would be a good time for us to get together and I can give you a free market analysis?
Oh, that'd be great. Okay, so yeah, I guess maybe you're going to sell my house for me one day. So how about we meet on Thursday at 2 o'clock? Does that work for you?
Yep, sounds perfect.
Excellent. All right. Do you want to keep going with that?
Sure. We'll finish it off. Are you planning to pay cash for your new home or will you be getting a mortgage?
Oh, I think we'll probably be getting a mortgage.
Okay, and have you been pre-approved as of yet?
Yes, I spoke to my bank. So I have that process going, but I also talked to a mortgage broker, which I think I may, but yep, no, the process has been started.
Okay, that's fantastic. You don't need a lender recommendation if you've already talked to 2 people.
Yeah, no,
And-
we're good there.
And here it's stating, which is, I'll be honest with you, it's not necessarily something I do with every client. What will your down payment be? I
Yeah,
may
no,
discuss the ins and out, but I don't ask that question.
yeah, I've never asked it either, so I don't know. I guess you'd feel, you just figure out if you feel comfortable asking that question. I think that's private information for them. If they're talking to a broker, they probably already know what they're doing. So I've never,
That's my
it's really
take.
not, it's really not part of what I need to know.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm the same. I'm the same. So thank you for helping me to get to know how you plan to buy. When we are looking for listings, what price are you comfortable with?
I'll send all that to you on email, just like kind of our wants and needs and a price point. And yeah, I would say like, 450 is max for sure for that size of house we're looking for, but we're open to discussing that.
Okay, and do you have a certain timeline like you'd like to be into your new home?
Yeah, definitely by the summer.
Okay, I'm excited to help you buy a home. In order to help you find the perfect home, all we need to do is set up an appointment so I can help you get your home in time, which is
Yeah,
better
no problem.
day or evening, which we already discussed earlier as to when the best time to contact you, and we've already set an appointment. So that's basically, it's a rough draft of, how your conversation would go, all the while you're learning more about the potential buyer, which is only going to help you in trying to find their home for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, do you see that you just need to be comfortable? Don't be like, like nervous. You're in charge. They're talking, you're the professional, not them. So when you feel comfortable, like, Jen was just calm, cool, and collective, made me feel comfortable. We just had a little conversation. Just make it like an everyday conversation. Don't be so scripted that you scare the shit out of them. Okay? Or shoot out of them or. Okay. Anybody else online have any questions about that? Okay.
Oh, is it still me?
That's you, yeah.
Okay, so at this point, you've uncovered A, B, and C buyers. When you uncover a buyer who's not able, willing, or ready to buy, that indicates they're a future transaction you need to stay in relationship with. Use your touch plans to nurture the relationship. We will learn more about that with a buyer session 14, Win the Buyer.
Okay, perfect. But this is a really good slide. Kind of gives you a database or like a plan to work off of. So 4 touches with phone calls. If you like 12 touches, monthly email, newsletter, market report, video, that could be Facebook, Instagram. These are all things that you could add to your plan each month. And you can divert from that as you wish, but it's a good start to figure out how to get the business, okay? Eventually, that's going to convert to way more as time goes on, okay? All right, we're almost done, guys. Okay, so we qualify seller leads with pre-listing questionnaires that help us build relationships with the 6 connecting questions and classify our potential sellers as A, B, or C. So everybody understands A, B, and C clients, right? Sellers, buyers, etc. Our pre-listing questionnaire will also help us create a pre-listing package to win the listing agreement by focusing on seller motivations. That's going to change with every client. So you're going to figure that out once you start going to, everybody's personalities are so different. We learn about the disc profile I don't know if you've been asked to do it. Keller Williams is pretty big on it. And that is a really good learning tool when you sit in front of people and you're going to change your hats a lot. So if you're got called in for a market analysis and that guy standing in front of you is a high D personality, well, you're going to sit a little straighter. Okay. But if they're, have a different disc profile and they're softer, well, you know what, your conversations are going to adjust to all of that. So you're going to learn over time how to talk to people. And we're really, really well trained on that here at Keller Williams. How to change your hats for sure. Okay. Next. Hold on, Annie. We're gonna role play again.
Ugh. Okay, so similar to the buyer lead sheet, the pre-listing questionnaire helps us connect and qualify potential sellers. Hi, Allison. I'd like to take about 5 minutes of your time to ask some important questions. It may help me provide you with the best service. Let's start. Oh, skip the page. Hold on. Let's start by making sure I have your correct contact information and the best way to reach you.
Yeah, no problem. Allison Godso at kw.com, 902-476-4889.
Perfect. What's the address of the home you're interested in selling?
At 224 Prospect Bay Road, Prospect Bay.
Okay, that is the first thing I need to start on your market analysis. I just have a few more questions. How did you hear about me?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, totally. Social media. I see your name everywhere in the community.
Nice, good to know. So we'll focus a little bit more on you. Where are you planning? Where do you want to move?
Well, once we sell, I think my husband and I plan to move to an apartment in the city.
Okay, and how soon would you like to do this?
I guess whenever. We're downsizing, so we're motivated, but you know, I guess we can see how I would like the process to go a little smooth for our home to sell. I don't want to feel a ton of pressure or anxious. You know, I think maybe if we could, you know, within the next few months would be great, but if you are able to sell my house for the right price in 30 days, I'd be open to that too.
Okay, so if we sold in 30 days, would that pose a challenge for you or anyone in the home
No,
to
no,
find
I
someone
think,
to live in?
no, we've been preparing for this, so we'll be fine.
Okay, and what would happen if your home did not sell?
Well, then, I think maybe you and I could just open up more communication on how to work on that together. But I mean, I think I trust you enough that, you know, I value your input on that.
Okay, and do you have a number in mind?
Well, of course, $1 million. No, you're the expert. So I again value your input on market analysis and what we should do. We'll do our best from a seller's perspective to make sure our house is show ready, to help you the best we can.
Funny you didn't use my favorite when you go in and you say, do you have a number in mind? Yes, I do, but I'm not telling you mine until you tell me yours.
Yeah, no, annoying. I think my husband and I are, you know, pretty in tune on fair market value in our neighborhood. We've done a lot of, you know, watching on Viewpoint or MLS to see how that goes. But again, you're the expert.
Okay, so I'll be sending you a packet along with some information in it. Would you take a few minutes to review it before we meet?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, and which is better for you, February 24th at 2 or February 25th at 6?
February 24th at 2 is perfect. Do you
Okay.
see how
do you
she
have-
nailed down that right away? So important. Nail down a date. Okay. Hold them to it every time.
Do you have any
Don't just
questions
keep
for
it
me
open-ended.
before we meet?
No, thank you. This has been a good conversation. I appreciate it. And I'll
Okay.
see you on February 24th at 2 p.m.
Okay, and all decision makers will be there for our time?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be myself and my husband.
Okay, I will see you then. Have a fantastic day. And we'll talk to you soon. Now, again, I was supposed to repeat the date, but I'm trying to read from a script and I can't remember what the date was.
Yep,
So
no, that's good. I got it. February 24th. I'll see you
when
then.
you're
Jen.
actually making an appointment, remember what you proposed.
Exactly. All right, does that all make sense? Good. Confidence, let it flow, get your date. Super important. Don't let them be, you know, oh, I don't know, I'll think about it. Let's, you know, I mean, it will happen for sure, but if you know, you feel that they are ready to commit to you, you get that date. Okay?
I'm not, Allison, how do you feel like when you're doing your actual proposal beyond our training that we're doing now?
Yeah.
I'm not really one to ask someone how much they still owe on the property.
No, I don't, you know what? I have and I haven't, because sometimes I feel like it's important. If they kind of open the door to it, I will.
If it's
but
kind of a concern that their list price is going to be right on the realm of, then yes,
Yeah.
but
No, that's right, because sometimes that's going to depict how anxious they are. So if I said, you know, how much do you owe? And they're like, oh gosh, no, I only owe 200, and you know that your market value is going to be well over 5. Well, shit, we have some room to really, you know, move here. But if they're like, well, I'm top heavy and I owe this amount of money, and you know that market value is right there, well, they're going to be anxious. Okay,
Yeah.
so it kind of gives you an idea sometimes, but again, you're going to read that in their body language. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll be able
Unless
to.
unless like with me, unless I see a red flag that I feel like I need to ask, it's usually just not a question that I include in my
Yeah.
in my presentation.
And you're just hoping that when you get to this point, they're already ready to list with you. Okay, so they have, and I don't know, maybe everybody's CMAs are different. I kind of give like a little bit of a buffer. So, you know, if I feel like it's going to be listed for 549, I might say 539 to 569, so that we have a little bit of room to negotiate with each other there, because that's important too. Good, everybody?
Agents that have, that do want to know how much they owe, because they want to make sure they get paid.
Yeah,
What's
for
your
sure.
feeling on that? What are your red flags that you might want to start asking?
Well, I guess when you're having your conversation about commissions as well, that has to be factored in. So you could maybe lead up to that, you know, I'm going to charge 5% plus HST is the norm, because commissions always comes up in your listing talk for sure. So then they can factor that in. So if they're saying, okay, well, I owe this amount of money, and why not ask? Okay, we just want to make sure that everything is covered nicely. This is what your fees are going to be, lawyer, commissions, lay it out for them. They don't know what we're talking about. We think they do. They do not know what we're talking about. How many times have you been in a position where you list something and then the questions keep coming and you're like, holy shoot, I didn't know you didn't know this. They don't know. They don't sell real estate. They don't get it.
Yeah.
Right? So you just got to educate them on it, and it's okay to ask. If they want to tell you, they'll tell you. Right? If they don't want to tell you, they'll just be like, no, we're good. We're good. Well, we have that covered. We're fine. Once you say 5%, they know they have to pay that. Okay. So they're going to either negotiate that with you, or they're not going to hire you.
Just
Okay,
always
so, but-
remember to tell them that the government is taking their piece on top of that 5%, because I haven't run into it myself. I always make sure to do it, but I've heard over the years of numerous times where people got themselves in trouble with the seller being upset that they didn't realize, you know, yes, it's a service, but you should still point out your house may be HST exempt, the commission is not.
And they don't know that, because there's been many a times, oh, I didn't know commission was 5% plus HST. Tell them right away. Okay.
Yeah.
Right away. And sit with them and look at them in the eyes and be like, do you have any questions? Here's the time for us to lay it right out for you. That shows you're confident too, right? Have that conversation. Let them be in charge. It's their house. You tell me what you need to ask. I'll answer it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, some chats. Thank you so much, Jen and Allison. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, we're
Amazing.
so late on that response. That was 11:52.
All right. Well, look at the time. We made it.
Well,
We're
yeah.
not early. We're not late. We're right on time. So if anybody has any questions for us before you leave. If not, thank you for coming. Hope you learned something today. And thanks, Jen.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Oh, you're welcome, Maureen. Thanks for coming.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you.
You're welcome, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.
Okay, now I have to learn how to turn it off. And there you go.